Hello! We are here in front of our two viewers.
New friend this. So, oh man, there's like two of you in the chat. I think I think one of them might be just me. So it's entirely possible that we're just chatting to Sid. Hi, Sid.
Hi, Sid. How you doing?
No man. Oh boy.
Well, today, for whoever's here now, just let you know that today we are going to be talking about, as the title suggests, our top 9 animated movies of all time. Last time we did live action, and as promised before, we are doing it an animated movies list, and this is that.
Yeah, because we just kind of figured that when we were doing our movies episode or whatever, we were just like, actually, you know, I think the animated movies need its own little episode because otherwise it's like way too difficult to actually assemble like a
Uh,
grid.
but surprisingly, I feel like this list was a little easier to make because I didn't realize how much less animated movies I've watched compared to live action movies. At
Oh, do you
least,
think so? I think it's actually for me, it's like the other way around. Actually, like when
really.
I was doing this, I was like actually coming up with like loads more animated movies than I thought I would.
No, I was thinking like I've watched quite a decent amount, but I feel like there's only a very few that I could have thought of that like, yeah, it's this I would consider to be the best of all time or whatever.
I mean, I will say that like I wasn't really good at guessing your live action picks. I think I might have like a better idea of what you might pick as your animation picks, but I guess we'll see if I'm right.
We'll see. We'll see.
I mean,
Uh,
that'll be interesting. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that Krishna was gonna join us today, but unfortunately he went out and had his vaccine, and now he's a bit out of action.
he's out of yes, he's out of action. He's MIA.
So get well soon, dude. Uh, although he's not even listening to this, so yeah,
No, he's probably asleep. He's pretty tired.
yeah, that's probably what's going on. And anyways, so that's why he's not here.
Yeah, but yeah, but we did ask him what his top 9 were, and I think he shared us a few of them, and let me just for those who are curious, I'll just let you know what it was. Uh, uh was it? Well, Kung Fu Panda 2 was one of them.
Yeah, which is interesting because I mean, I don't know. I always thought actually the first one was pretty good.
First one I really enjoyed. I don't know about the second one and third one. I didn't even know they had a third one.
Yeah, I haven't watched those ones, so I really don't know. But
Mm, but well, that was one of his picks. He told us 4 more of his picks, which were Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, which fair. I really enjoy Batman
yeah,
Beyond.
all right, all right.
Um, I like the show, I think, more than the movie, but that's my opinion.
I think the what was it, the Batman the animated series? The original one.
Yeah.
That's the better one. I think, like by far.
I think it's like because I watched Batman Beyond as a kid, and it had pretty much all the cool themes like a kid would really enjoy. So I really
Yeah.
liked Batman
Okay.
Beyond, but I didn't like
I
it.
can see that.
But I'm not saying I liked it more than the original animated series. I liked the animated series a lot more just because of how.
I don't know. I don't know if this is true. Maybe you can maybe you heard the same thing. I've heard about that TV show. Apparently, they drew it on black paper.
Yeah, no, they drew it on black paper. No, that is completely true.
Is that true? Okay, that's
Yeah,
wild.
yeah, yeah. That's how they were able to get such like a like the color you see, like the tone of it. That's how they're able
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get it.
God damn, this series is never going to end because we're just going to keep coming up with different stuff every week. It's like, oh yeah, we should do like different like top nine cartoons.
I
You
don't know.
know,
I don't know.
like top nine anime.
We are planning to do our top 9 TV shows. We're still deciding on what our guidelines should be for that. Like if it's gonna be only animated, only live action. But I think let's keep it a mix. I don't know. We'll talk about it soon. Uh, anyway, the other
Yeah.
picks that Krishna came up with, the next one was The Dark Knight Returns Part 1.
I mean, yeah, okay, I can,
No, that one's a good
yeah,
pick, but
I can see that.
as expected, another DC one.
Oh, Sid says, I think Krishna should be disqualified from submitting after previous transgressions.
Is
Oh,
this
well.
is this because he picked Man of Steel in the last episode and he picked Kung Fu Panda 2 for this one? Or he was going to before he couldn't make it.
Yes. Just yes to all of it.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I will say that, yeah, I mean, in this case, this week, I mean, it's okay for him not to be here because, obviously it's a understandable reason or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
you see, it says Kung Fu Panda 2, I thought one was better. Now, I've never seen 2, but I would just assume one is better.
I did see 2 and I agree one was better.
One is actually really good because you remember we actually all went to see it together.
Yeah,
What was that, year 6?
it was a year
Like
6
in high school, yeah.
school, like I think it was like a year end thing. I forget.
Yeah, because we went to the big IMAX.
Yes, we did.
Like the whole the whole of our little year group. I still
Yep.
remember that.
Yes. Yes, we did. And it was a good time. We had quite a good time with the movie.
No, because you remember I think what it was because they didn't like. Usually, what they was they took everyone, and now we're just talking about our old school days. But it's like I remember they were going to take us to a water park, but the water park they were going to take us to, like, they had some sort of accident there or something. I remember this, so it's like,
Yes.
So they were like, "You're going to go to cinema instead."
uh,
Yeah.
but does Lion King count? Because it's literally Hamlet with animals, so the story is not really original. Well, we are
What was it like?
looking. Yeah, we are looking at top animated movies, and I guess Lion King would count as an animated movie, right?
Well, I mean, we'll see if either of us has it on our list.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We don't know yet.
Speaking of which, we should probably get onto the list. Actually, we just
Well,
been shit talking.
I just want to get through Krishna's picks just because he's not here. His next one was Wonder Woman 2009, which is a decent
I
film.
think I've seen that.
I think I've seen it once, and it was on UBC,
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
our Thailand's home box office. That's HBO, the home box thing.
No, it's like
Cable
the
TV.
broadcaster or whatever you call them.
This Krishna guy sounds like he has a bit of a bias. You don't say. And the last movie he told us he picked was Justice League Flashpoint Paradox.
I haven't seen that, so.
Admittedly, good
But
film, but personally, I wouldn't put it top 9. But he is a DC fan, so I kind of expected it on here.
all this superhero talk. It reminds me of. Did you ever see? I can't remember what it's called now. But there was like in the style of Batman animated series. There was this movie about Mister Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
He
Yes.
kidnaps Batgirl or something to cure his wife.
Yes. What was it?
I can't remember the name. You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
I'm looking it up. I was thinking, like, is it the Phantom whatever? But no, it's not that. Movie. It's just Google's just giving me Batman and Robin, which is not the one.
Oh no, Batman and Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero,
Batman. Yeah, here it is. Batman, Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero. That's the one.
Yeah, I love that movie.
That one's.
I
Really
just remembered it. I didn't think of it when I was doing my list. Spoiler alert, but
I'm pretty sure Krishna would put Justice League Animated Rule 34 in his top 9. Oh my god. All right, man.
You know what? Let's not even.
But there's, I'm surprised there are some movies I can think of in the DC animation movies, like, which I feel like he could have picked. Maybe he hasn't watched them. I don't know. But he's not here to defend himself, so I guess we should not really attack him.
Anyways,
Yeah. Anyways, I guess we should. Did he not put in the Killing Joke? No, he didn't. Oh yeah, that's another good one. I'm surprised.
I didn't like that movie though. To be
It was
honest,
okay, but
it's not as good as the other ones.
I mean, it's better than Wonder Woman 2009. At least from what
2000. Oh,
the one he picked. At least from what I remember.
I've not seen either. So
He only likes the one with Superman. Interestingly, none of his picks has Superman, except just as the Flashpoint paradox. Um, but that's only for like like a minute or two. I don't know. It's not that long.
you know what? You know what? Let's just move on from Chris's list because, like, honestly, the whole idea is like he should be here to explain why. And it's like, you know, it's less good if we're just like going over his picks and like, yeah, I kind of see it.
I mean, we
You know what I
might
mean?
as well, since he was supposed to be here, we might as well talk about his list a little bit. But
I mean, that's literally his
I
list, though,
mean,
isn't it?
but yeah, everything I just mentioned, that's all he has told us. I don't know what like four more picks he must have had. I don't know what they were. He hasn't revealed them to us. Uh, well,
Oh boy.
it's okay though. Um, but yeah, he was feeling unwell. He wasn't able to finish his grid, and even if he had, he wasn't feeling up to joining the stream. Uh, so yeah, he was supposed to be a guest. Guest couldn't make it, so we're still going ahead, of course. We're going over his we're going over his picks like Jesus fuck.
I mean, to be fair, he has some good picks. There's some good picks in there. Like, I think The Dark Knight Returns is pretty good.
Hmm? That one I can agree on. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Tim and I have again curated our top 9 list in a grid. And I think at this point it's kind of made obvious that we do have an honorable mention each time. So we will.
Actually, no, I don't know. I actually need to check what my honorable mention is. Well, I assume then
I
that's in a good position then, because I can't remember what it is.
I think I have one in mind. I forget what it was. So
All right.
I think it'll come back to me once we start going through the list.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah. So I guess as usual, we will go to the wheel and figure out who is. Wait, can you see the wheel? I think the. Oh, there we go. There we go. Wait, is it working? I don't get it.
I think so. I can see it.
You can see it? All right, cool. I'm going to trust you because my OBS is acting up. Uh, I have some ideas too, so I'll fill them in if none of you pick them. I can see it and then it goes away. Oh, okay. Well, let me fix
This
that.
wheel. You know what? We should just take like a moment after this podcast is done to like, jazz up the wheel a bit.
Just, well, it's not really in my control. This,
Oh, is it something else? It's like an app or something.
it's a browser. Uh, Hold on, I'm fixing it. Chrome.exe. Fuck, you know what? Here. There. That it's a black screen. Why is it a black screen?
Man,
Hold
this
on.
OBS happening up, right?
There we go. It's kind of fixed now. All right.
Hey,
I just had to go back into it. It's being weird today.
clearly.
Sorry about the technical difficulties. It's live. Shit
Bro, there's
happens.
like one person in chat.
Well, hopefully more people watch this later.
Wow.
Anyway. So I'm gonna click to spin the wheel of mystery. And it's
Come
Tim!
on with the better.
Alright
Oh, well,
then.
it has a jingle, so that's okay.
Yeah, it has its own jingle. So, Tim, you've made your pick. I mean, not made. Yeah, you've created your
Made your
grid.
pick. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me just. Why is this being weird today? Stop being weird. All right. And there are Tim's picks.
Hey.
So you want to go through your list real quick? Just a summary of everything you picked.
Can I just say before we actually get into it, like, I think it, I think not having the surprise is like it goes against the podcast a little bit. You know what I mean? Because like at least when we have Krishna on, it's like he's never seen my picks, but you see everyone's because I have to send it to you.
Yeah, but I don't say anything about it until we get on.
All right, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I just want you to go through your list before I say anything. So, just a quick summary of everything you picked.
Sure. So starting top left, Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind,
Yeah.
Princess Mononoke,
Uh-huh.
The Incredibles,
Yes.
The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, Mulan, Grave of the Fireflies, Spirited Away, Inside Out, and Only Yesterday.
All right. So my first comments. A bit. Yeah, almost. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. A bit. Half of it, almost more than half of it, is Studio Ghibli.
I mean, a huge fan. I think I'm probably one of the few people who's actually seen every single Studio Ghibli movie.
Probably. Probably.
Probably, because I know it was like, what is it? There's 20 of them or something? 21, 22, something like that. I remember, like, that was because, you know, obviously we had to talk about, like, our little review session back when Presso was still going on, because that was when I was sort of watching all these movies, like, in sequence, because they were all on Netflix, I think. Depends on where you are. I think you can probably catch, like, all of them.
Sid,
on
man. What the? Sid, it is wrong, but interesting.
it.
Okay. These are animated films, Sid. I'll be surprised if we come up with something better. But let's wait for my list. We'll see.
Yeah, so anyways, Studio Ghibli. Yeah, I was having the time of my, like, movie reviewing life when I was reviewing all the Studio Ghibli movies, because there were some, like, there are only like a few that are not really that good. I think like most of them, like, I'm happy to watch because they're really good, and it was like a genuine sort of struggle to sort through that whole list of them because they're all like really good.
Yeah,
for the most part.
I agree.
I mean, I don't know how many you've seen. That's the question, I guess.
How many have I seen? I've seen Grave of the Fireflies, and I've seen Spirited Away from the the Ghibli films you have on here.
You know, I was actually looking this when I was doing some research, obviously, for these before we did this podcast. And I was looking on like Wikipedia and stuff, like just out of interest, like how many of these films have won Oscars and stuff. And it strikes me that like it's only like Studio Ghibli has not won that many actually. They've been nominated quite a bit.
I'm sure
it's always
Spirited
like
Away
Disney
won,
and Pixar.
right?
Yeah, Spirited Away did, but that was like one of the only one that's won, I think, if I remember correctly, because the rest are like Disney and Pixar, actually.
Ah.
So, yeah. I mean, I guess we can talk about Spirited Away because you've sort of you've seen that. So
Wait, haven't seen any of the Ghibli films, so I'm just judging the other four. Oh, okay. That's why he's saying your list is wrong, Tim.
I mean, sure. Well, I mean, it's all subjective, I think. Isn't it? So
Yeah, it's subjective. No one's wrong. Unless they are, but they're not. Anyway, I guess Tim, let's do the Ghibli ones first. I think
there's quite a few of them. I think like half of my list, more than half.
Krishna's the only one who can be wrong in his opinions.
I mean, it's a bold move going after him. He can't defend himself right now, so
Yeah,
I'm not going to get into that.
All right. But yeah, let's start with Nausicaa. What is Nausicaa?
You want to start there? Okay. I mean,
so where do you want to start? Where do you want to start?
I mean, I think we should start with Spirited Away because I think like loads of people know Spirited Away.
Okay.
And we can sort of like go through like the ones people know the most, and then we'll move along that
All
sort
right,
of basis.
If we're going through with the ones people know the most, I think let's start with the Disney and Pixar.
Sure, yeah, that's a good start. We'll do that.
and then we'll get into
Um,
Ghibli.
and then we'll get into Ghibli because Ghibli is like,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
a whole different language,
yeah.
literally.
Anyways, so where should we start? Let's start with The Incredibles because I will say The Incredibles is probably the best superhero movie out there, and you guys are free to challenge me on that. But I think
Yeah,
it's probably
bold statement, sir.
okay, if not the best, one of the best. And I don't think anyone would disagree with me because when I was watching this movie as a kid, I was insanely in love with it.
Huh.
So I thought it was like at the time I thought it was like one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I mean, I've watched Incredibles myself countless times. It's a very enjoyable film for sure.
I mean, because you just talk about that whole little opening sequence. You know how it's like in the glory days and stuff. You know, it just starts off so well, and it's like so just epic. And you have the music and the animation. Everything's just so like it's just so cool. You know what I mean? And then it just goes on from there, and it's just I think it's perfect. Like it's almost like the perfect superhero movie.
Yeah, and it has the whole family aspect to it, which makes it a very great family film as well.
I mean, I think it has a good villain, which I don't see mentioned often enough. I think, but it sort of has that sort of. There's like a message to it. You know what I mean? There's like a message behind the story, and yeah. I mean, obviously we can talk about because obviously they set up like the way they set up the first movie is like there's going to be a sequel.
Yeah.
And the sequel didn't come for like years.
Well,
I remember like when I went.
I can say something about that.
I mean,
it didn't it ended on like a kind of a cliffhanger, right?
Yeah, it was like
with the Underminer.
The Underminer, yeah.
Yeah, no, they turned that into a video game, and it was a very fun video game.
Yeah, I remember that on PlayStation 2 or something.
Yeah. So it did get a follow-up. It just wasn't a movie. And then it got a movie, Incredibles 2, which was not as good as the first movie.
It was nowhere near as good. I was just gonna say, like, I was so disappointed when I went to watch Incredibles 2. Because it's like, it's not like a bad movie, but it's just so like below the bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I waited so long for it, and it was just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It says, I don't think it's the best superhero film. I mean, have you watched Man of Steel? And he really likes Helen and Bob's relationship. It's not something that happens in super movies a lot, and it's really good. True.
I think it captures like the family dynamic really well.
It does, and I think a lot of I'd assume a lot of parents would have related to this film at the time, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something you can say about a lot of Disney and Pixar movies. I think there's like stuff to appreciate if you're an adult, as well as obviously even though they make it for kids, there's like certainly stuff you can appreciate.
Also, interesting time period they chose to do the film. They could have done it in modern times, but they didn't.
I mean, I think I like that about it. It has its own sort of its world, and I think the thing I love most about it is the sort of setup it has. I think.
Yeah.
Because like the idea of having the story about superheroes, like they're all gone away, they gone into hiding, whatever it is, and then it's like
it's because they were protesting.
What happens after? Right? I remember it was like they were facing like legal cases and stuff.
Yeah.
which is finally kind of hilarious, but
it's like they did Civil War before Civil War.
Yeah, no, and it was like, yeah. I think like even some of like the more modern superhero movies, you get out of Marvel or whatever it is. I think they have trouble with even standing up to this movie, and it came out in 2004, which is,
like they gave them both personalities, and it sort of morphed into their mom and dad personality. Like they didn't change as people from the introduction, but I believed them as a mom and dad. It's literally this guy's midlife crisis. Interesting observation.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think it's like,
yeah,
it does character work, which is interesting because you wouldn't expect that much from a kids film, but
Yeah, this film goes way further than you'd expect for a kids film, especially for the time it came out in.
Yeah, no, I think I like it because it has the story, it has the action as well, and the animation's really, really good.
Yeah, I th- yeah, that's why I kind of like I was disappointed by Incredibles Part 2. Like they
Hmm.
didn't go as far or as deep the first movie went. Is pretty like what was it? The villain was so obvious and there was no setup for the villain even, which was very disappointing to see.
I mean, yeah, it was. I think the thing about that is that I think it really has the sort of the modern sort of Pixar film. It doesn't have this sort of
Yeah.
classic sort of vibe, and I think that really takes away from it because I think obviously we can talk a lot about how their moves have changed over the years and stuff, and I think what you see is these days they have a lot more. The stories don't have that much nuance to them anymore. I don't think there's less sort of that element to it, which is I find really disappointing because I think their classic movies are way better than what they make now.
Yeah, I feel like the second movie they tried to be more smart, but it kind of ended up backfiring. And I think what they kind of missed the point of the first movie was that uh was it was like the all right, I'll go back to what take back what I said because I feel like I lost where I was going with that. But what I mean to say basically is that the villain yeah, I guess Sid kind of said it too. Syndrome didn't have a huge setup, but you could tell from the scenes he had as Incrediboy how it escalated. Yeah, so Syndrome had a really good setup. Like we met him before as a kid. We see where his hatred started and everything. And he comes back and he pays him back for it. And we see his motivations very clearly. In number two, it's just like superheroes didn't show up for my dad, so I hate superheroes. Like,
You
really?
know what I think it is? It's like that's the whole thing about it. Is like it lacks complexity, it lacks like subtlety. I think
Yeah.
these is what I find from a lot of like that kind of Disney Pixar sort of movies. It's not very. It's all very on the nose if you take my meaning.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
like really because obviously they switched over their focus a little bit, following the market or whatever to focus on I guess female empowerment as well.
I
I don't know how
mean,
women feel about that because it's sort of like to me it seems really sort of really
mm,
I don't know. I guess what I would want maybe is for them to tell like good stories. If you're gonna do that, and don't just like tell obvious stories. Don't just tell stuff that is like that is so. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for.
uh, that is so blatant.
I wouldn't say blatant. I mean, I'm personally like I would love for there to be like more female characters, more strong female characters, like heroes, villains, anything in between. I would love that, right? But I think there's
Mm,
like a trend. There's a trend where they try to really just like
mm.
again, like if you say forced, that has a really like negative connotation to it.
I
It's like
wouldn't. No, no, I wouldn't say it was forced. But I know
you know
what
what
you
I mean. It's
mean.
like if you're gonna tell like that kind of story, I would want it to be like the best story you can. Stories that are really about it, not like approach it from like a nuanced sort of manner. If that sort of makes sense.
Yeah, because for Incredibles 2, what they basically did was they took the story of Incredible ones, but they switched the role of Bob and Helen.
Yeah, and it's just like oh yeah, he's at home. It's like oh you reverse the traditional gender roles or whatever it is, and it's just sort of like okay you've done that, but
Yeah, I was hoping for something different, something more. But Jack Jack was
yeah.
cool in 2.
Yeah, I'll give you that. That's fair.
But Incredibles one was so much fun. And Samuel L. Jackson's Frozone, that's so cool to know.
Yeah, I mean, Sid's agreeing with us. He says, there's some really good female empowerment movies, but it's really bad when they try to shoehorn into like a series and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think, yeah, I can see, yeah, I can see that argument. I think, we see it a lot in movies nowadays. I mean, I'm not like at all opposed. Like I said, I really support like more female characters. Like, but we want, I think, everybody more good female characters.
Yeah. And obviously
Yeah, and good stories.
he's talking
And
about
that's
the animated movie. Sorry, what's that?
like I said, we don't really get as much of that these days. It's more like the story is too simple. It's too that sort of way, if you like. Which, yeah, you're right. Which leads us very well to Mulan, which I think is probably my favorite Disney movie.
Of all time.
Because I think, well, I don't know if of all time, because I was thinking of the Lion King as well, because the Lion King is really, really good.
Well, the Lion King is not on your list here, Tim.
Well, I mean, I think I have a more personal connection with Mulan than the Lion King, to be fair. Which is like, if we're talking about movies that we have like
Right.
that we have more of a personal connection to, I think there's an element of that in this whole thing.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, I think Mulan was the first Disney movie I ever watched. It was on like videotape. You remember videotape? Those like
The
chunky plastic
VHS.
boxes.
VHS.
Yeah,
tapes.
exactly like that. On literally on that. Like not even
Yeah.
like DVD or CD or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but, like I just remember I still, has a special place for me.
Oh.
Because I remember like I was watching some other guy on YouTube. He was talking about why Mulan is like one of his favorites. And he says like it's got all the, it tells the story in a really really, solid sort of fashion, if you like, because it has stuff you don't really see nowadays. Like going back to what we were saying about the female empowerment. Like these days when you go watch those Disney princess movies.
Yeah.
I think what they're all about is like the character starts off strong in Act 1 and then they're still strong at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that much of a progression, but like I think with Mulan you definitely see more of that sort of journey, if you like.
You do. And you see her pay the consequences for what she does. But then she works through it and proves her wits. And
it's like all about
yes.
proving like winning honor for the family and all that kind of stuff, and it's how she goes about and does that. And if you talk about all the kind of technical stuff about it, I think, sorry about that, anyways, I think it's like the music, the songs, Reflection is still like a gem.
No, you know what's a gem? I'll
make a man.
Yes.
You should just gonna say it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was watching the most recent. I watched it recently with some college friends. Back before COVID or whatever. So the thing that I think you don't really appreciate that movie when you're a kid, but you remember the grandma character?
Like
Mulan's grandma. Anyway,
at the beginning of the film.
No. She's there throughout. Mulan's grandma. She is like hilarious.
Yeah.
Because I just remember this. I can still remember that scene where she's Mulan's going to go see the matchmaker. You know the scene I'm talking about.
Yes.
And obviously the grandma is like, she's going to bring a cricket for Mulan to have good luck or whatever. And she's like, I'm gonna test it by. She just walks across like a really busy street, like like her hand over her eyes, just holding the cricket. And it's just like people are like crashing into her. It's like she just causes like so much destruction across the road. And then like the smoke clears, she's fine, and then behind her she's like, it's like a wreckage of like carts and like people and stuff. And she turns around and she's like, yep, this is a lucky one. There's like wreckage in front of her. I mean, I think it's just, she's one of the best parts of the movie, low key.
I can clearly see you have such a love for Mulan. So what are your thoughts on the live action adaptation?
I mean, to me, initially I liked it. Then I watched it again, and then I've gone off it, to be honest. It's not very good.
Sid kind of sums up my thoughts on it a bit.
I mean, I think, it's definitely inferior to the original.
I think it misses the whole point of the original.
Yeah, because, it sort of doesn't... I don't think it gets the character.
I don't think it gets the story.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get the character, doesn't get the story, it doesn't get
the
whole sort of...
It misses the whole point of the whole movie.
I mean, okay, we're going to set aside the fact that they thanked the owners of a concentration camp in the credits or whatever.
We don't have to bring that up.
That's not... set aside all that kind of crap, right? It's still not very good. Yeah,
Uh,
it says I think the live action remakes are going to fail no matter what. Yeah, I think it just continues that pattern of them kind of trying and
well, I don't know. I will
doing
say
sort
this:
of thing.
the Aladdin live action one wasn't too bad. They did own up to it and make it their own a bit. So I'll give them props for that.
Yeah, I mean the thing about that is like obviously we can talk about the Lion King remake here a little bit, which I find hilarious because I bet you, especially in like that opening scene, the Circle of Life or whatever it is, they had
Yeah.
to recreate. They just recreated that pretty much shot for shot because they had like I think there was just a sense like, okay, there's literally no way we can top this, like ever. This is
They
probably like the best thing we've ever done as a studio, and it's like we can't, we just have to redo it again because like there's nothing we can do, right? There's literally nothing we can do, and then the whole movie is just like that, and they're literally like, what can we do to make this movie better? You know
Mm,
what? We're gonna hire Beyonce or whatever to sing, right? And
right.
then and then Beyonce doesn't even make it better, which tells you how good the original movie is, I think.
I mean, a lot of what made the original Lion King better than the live action one was that it was the animation, a lot of it. Uh, like on how attractive it is and how emotive the animals can be and sell their part and story and their role in the world. The live action, you're kind of hindered by real life physics, I guess. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's not
it's
gonna.
because they try to make it all look realistic and stuff
Hmm.
to how animals actually look, but it's not like.
And they made Scar bitch. In the live action, they made Scar fucking bitch.
I mean, like, okay, well, I mean, let's go back to Mulan because I guess maybe I like it because it was the first one I saw, and I guess
Mm.
maybe that's the one you love the most. You know what I mean? Because it's the first one, and it leaves the biggest impression in your mind.
It is one of the more original and I would say the most different of all the Disney films. The most unique, I should say, of all the Disney films that they've put out.
I mean, to me, it just sort of has everything. It has a really, really great heroine that's, as a guy, is inspirational,
Hmm.
and the story, the music, the animation, and obviously you have to talk about Eddie Murphy as Mushu, who I think is like one of the biggest things they missed in the live action because he just adds that sort of like comedy feel, and it's just
Yeah, they tried to do humor in the live action and it just didn't land. Uh, but yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
my point is I can totally see an argument for pretty much anything from that sort of Disney classic era, Lion King, anything like that. But the reason why I put Mulan is there because I have the most personal connection to it. It's the one I remember like sitting on the living room floor like 4 years old, like watching it on videotape. So
Yeah.
it's still up there for me, I think.
Mm.
And then
Well,
like even now I can watch it, and then I can laugh at the grandma, and the way she's incredibly savage. Um,
yeah, that's right. Donkey has a beat.
I mean, Shrek was on my list actually. I took it off, but
Shrek. Oh, I didn't even think of Shrek, but I don't think it would have made my list.
damn. Okay, we're gonna get burned for that.
I don't think it would have made my list though, honestly speaking. But yeah, I forgot to think about it. It would have been
I
close.
think there's better movies, but
But yeah, let's move on to your next Disney film, which is Inside Out. Very recent, I
well, more
guess.
recent than
More recent than the
Mulan.
most recent in this list. Uh,
Is it? Oh yeah, it is.
it
Okay,
is,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, Inside Out. It was. I watched it myself too. I found it really sad, entertaining, happy, funny. The fact that it even plays with emotions, I think, is part of the reason why it delivers each emotion it needs to so well. Except fear, since it's not supposed to be a horror movie anyway.
I mean, I think the thing with Inside Out is that obviously we were like severely criticizing their most recent like work or whatever. But I think
Yeah.
Inside Out is probably one of the few good ones I think, and I enjoy it because I think it has a message that actually appeals more to adults than children. I think obviously the whole message behind it, I think, is like, it's your feelings are valid, mate. It's okay to like, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. It's
Yeah.
okay to feel scared. And I think sometimes, like, even as adults, I think we need to be reminded of that. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was watching that, I was really like, I was actually getting quite emotional when I was watching Inside Out because I thought it was like, it sort of speaks to me on that sort of level. I think,
Mm.
which is interesting because I think if you go back to Pixar, they are movies meant for kids. But I don't know if like would your typical like 6-year-old be able to sort of gather that sort of message from that? Do you think?
Mm.
Because I think it's actually quite like it's quite a relatively complex message. I think.
I think the adults or the more mature people watching would recognize the real world plot, while the kids will be more focused over
The
the,
characters.
the characters, the emotion characters inside the head, right? So I think it's kind of for both. Like if the kids who watched it at the time grew up and watch it today, I'm sure they'll take away a different message by the end.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's on there because I think it was one of the few sort of movies that really sort of it sort of spoke to me on that sort of level, if you like.
If you look
And
at
aside from
the
the voice acting and the animation being really really phenomenal as well.
Yeah. If you look at the nuances in the dialogue of a movie like Minions, Inside Out is just inferior in every way. Oh, you know what? Opinions are opinions, and everyone has a right to them.
I mean, I'm interested because like Inside Out, I think
Yeah.
it's fun, it's emotional, and I don't know what to say. I really enjoyed it. I always see either some people don't, but
Hmm. I don't know. Inside Out, waiting for Turin's list. We're just getting halfway through Tim's list, man. Calm down.
yeah.
Oh, he wants to suggest more movies. Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, I guess we can move on to the Ghibli films, and I guess let's start with the most popular one, which is Spirited Away.
Yeah, Spirited Away is probably the most well known, and for good reason. The animation is amazing. Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah,
What an absolute legend. I
yeah,
think.
I agree.
Um,
I love
I think
the
he's
art
probably made
style.
some of the best animated films ever made, and I don't think that's controversial to say in any way.
No,
Um,
no, I wouldn't say it is.
Spirited Away is actually not my favorite Ghibli movie, which is it's up
Oh,
there. But it's obviously the one people talk about the most because it won the Oscar or whatever.
well,
But I don't think it's my favorite. But
wow.
it is really really good.
Yeah. I don't. Would I say it's? I don't know. Well, I think Spirited Away is kind of like, yeah, you know why it's up there.
I mean, how much introduction does it really need? I mean,
Doesn't
that's
really. So I guess let's
exactly.
move on to Grave of the Fireflies. Now, why would you possibly put the saddest movie in the world up there?
This is, I think I've seen it on the internet described as the best movie I'll ever only watch. Like I'll watch once, which
Yes,
is like because I've watched it once and I just know like I'm never, probably ever gonna watch it again. But it was really, really, really good.
I'll never watch it
Um,
again. I don't have to watch it again, only because it was so like emotionally scarring. I just remember the whole movie anyway, so I don't need to watch it again.
I mean, I think part of the reason why I enjoy Go to the Fireflies, well, enjoy is
Hmm.
enjoy not in that sense. You wouldn't
Saddest,
like. It's
yeah.
not. It's not a laugh. It's not a laugh riot. Let's put it that way.
It has its little light moments. Not a
Yeah,
laugh
but
out
it's sort
loud.
of to me. I think it's probably not only one of the greatest animated movies ever made. It's probably also one of the greatest war movies ever made. I think.
Hmm.
Um, and it deals with topics, themes, events that typically animation doesn't really touch on.
Yeah.
War, human suffering.
I mean, we
Um,
can say this is not made for kids.
oh, definitely not. Yeah, it's very very adult movie actually.
But
Because I remember like you see like burned bodies and stuff like that, which
yeah.
is quite quite graphic, right?
Tim, would you
Yeah,
say this is the saddest animated movie or just the saddest movie in general?
probably both.
So the saddest movie overall.
Saddest movie overall.
Can you think
Probably
of a
up there.
sadder
Yeah,
movie? A movie that's sadder than Grave of the Fireflies?
I'm really struggling.
I really don't know. So I guess, Sid, to answer your question, the saddest movie ever.
Yeah, I think it's
Can it
sort of.
be sadder than the romantic movie The Room? The tragic room? I don't know, man. I don't know. Johnny's iconic
I
suicide.
mean, the thing about Grave of the Fireflies is that it is really sad. Obviously, it's really emotional. That's the thing most people talk about when it's like everybody I know who's ever watched it has either broken down crying or something less than that. But every person I've talked to who's watched it has felt that movie in their soul on a level that I don't think many other movies sort of get at.
Yeah.
And I think because I think Turi, you've seen it, and I think like okay, maybe you didn't like breakdown crying, but I think you can kind of understand like where I'm coming from.
I think
Because
so.
I think, but at the same time, it's also like artistically speaking, you know, incredible. In terms of the animation, in terms of the art style, the way it sort of translates that sort of really harsh, really punishing environment into the sort of medium of anime, if you like. I think it does that in a really, really incredible way.
It's it's a movie I cautiously recommend to people.
I mean, you like I said, it's the movie you watch once. You're like, that was incredible. I'm never looking at this again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. Because I don't know. It just felt like after watching that movie, I just sort of felt like empty almost because it was just like wow. And I don't think like whether we talk about animated movies or live action movies, I don't think I've seen like many movies that actually have ever done that before. Just sort of provoke that reaction. The credits are rolling, and you're just like, whoa, what did I just watch? You know what I mean? That was the sort of reaction I had because it was just so the emotional heaviness of it is really really striking. I think.
I agree. Well, I guess I don't know what else we can really say for Grave of the Fireflies other than guys, it's a very sad movie.
It is. It is incredibly. It is heartbreaking. It is like, but you owe it to yourself to watch it. I think
I
at
think
least once,
yeah, everyone used to, at least once, at most once.
at most once. Yeah.
unless you're really sad and you just need to feel sadder, then I guess watch it again.
It is. It is uniquely haunting, that movie.
Yeah, I agree. But well, I guess let's move on to some of the lesser known Studio Ghibli films and also the four of which I haven't watched yet. Princess Mononoke, I feel like of the four I haven't watched here is more well known, but I haven't seen it myself.
Yeah, Mononoke is obviously it's less well known than Spirited Away and Grave of the Fireflies, but it's still I think one of the more well known Ghibli movies, and I think it's really
Hmm.
again we're returning to the topic of nuance in animated movies, like I said, which the modern Pixar movies don't get so much, but these Ghibli movies, like almost without fail, they get it, and Mononoke is probably one of the best examples of that. Setting aside all the great animation, because all these Ghibli movies they have really really good animation, right? It's good. So you're just going to keep coming back whenever you talk about Ghibli. You're always talking about like the quality of the animation, how they do their art style and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Their use of color, their use of all that kind of stuff. You're always going to come back to that when you're talking about Ghibli. But I think you owe it to yourself to see Mononoke because there is like an environmentalist message to it, which I really appreciated because obviously when we're talking about beating people over the head with like messaging and stuff, this movie doesn't do that. It's more subtle. And the thing I love about this movie in particular is not only like the hero and the heroine, but there is like a certain element of
the villain is grey. She's not evil as such. And you know, there are moments in that movie where you sort of come to really appreciate how they do the villain, because she's not like evil as such. And they're the people who love her, the people who follow her, the people who look up to her for leadership. They do it for reasons that you really sort of that are like totally understandable, totally reasonable. And you know, because she helps the sick and stuff like that. She helps like women who used to be prostitutes, it's implied, to find like better work and stuff like that. So it's sort of like villains with nuance, characters with nuance, is why I like Mononoke so much. And I don't think you don't see that very often in Western animation. I don't think.
Yeah, no, yeah, I guess you wouldn't really.
I mean, it's less grey, I think, and I think a lot of the Ghibli movies they're more willing to engage with that, which I think is you know, which I think is really really good, because you when you're telling a story, you want to, you know, cheer on for the hero, but at the same time, if you can sympathize on some level with the villain, that gives you so much more emotional investment into the movie. And Mononoke, that's why I got so invested in it, because I could understand sort of both sides of the conflict, like between humans and nature. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it.
Sure. I mean, I haven't watched it, so I should probably go watch it.
Very enjoyable movie as well.
I still have yet to watch all the live action films you guys are telling me to go watch.
I mean, if you're ever gonna get around to that, then
Well, which one first? The live action ones or the animated ones?
go to the animated ones. These I think are, some of these are superior to the live action films I brought up. And you guys
Yeah,
brought up.
I feel like even some of my own picks I'd say is superior to my top 9 picks.
I mean, like,
with the live
honestly, like,
action.
if you're talking like Nausicaa and some of the other stuff when you go to Fireflies, if you had told me like we were just doing one episode on movies, like live action anime together, some of these movies were like, they would have knocked some of my other picks off easily, I think.
I feel like most of my list would have been animated.
Yeah, because I remember saying to you, like, I could have just done, like, you said to me, like, pick your, like, favorite movies of all time. I could have just done a list that was completely animated. Completely animated movies.
Yes. Complete.
Because, you know, I think it's a medium of film that people don't appreciate very much. Because, you know, I think you have that sort of, particularly if you grow up in, like, a Western culture, I think, you think of animation as like cartoons, you think of Pixar, you think of Disney, and you think it's like kid stuff.
Yes, and also part of that is like our parents grew up thinking anything animated
Right,
is a kid's film or a kid's medium.
Yeah, and I think some of the films on my list, they challenge that,
I think all of them. Well, Incredibles is a kid's film, but it goes deeper and further than anyone would expect.
I mean, I can certainly see an argument that you could say like all the films I picked, they challenge that sort of idea that it's only for like kids stuff.
Yeah.
In some way. Some more than others, like Grave of the Fireflies, that's not a kid's movie. Like, don't show it to your kids unless you want to like traumatize them.
It's like, mommy, what happened to the girl?
I mean, fun fact, did you know actually when they aired Grave of the Fireflies in cinemas, when they were showing it in cinemas, they actually showed it back to back with Totoro.
Oh god.
And Totoro is like the complete. No, obviously because you want that sort of. They did that intentionally because they want that sort of dichotomy, if you like. Because you show Grave of the Fireflies, which is really bleak, and it's like, you know, all about human suffering, war, and stuff like that, and like, you know, all the people who died during war who are like faceless. Like, you know, it's not them becoming like statistics and numbers, right? To give a face to those numbers. And then you show Totoro, which is like completely on the other end of the scale, right? It's lighthearted. There's not really much conflict in it. There's like cute characters, you know, and I think what they sort of intended it to be was like, it was supposed to like refresh you, sort of give you hope, which is like a really interesting sort of way to show a movie, I guess. Like back to back in that sort of fashion. I guess maybe they wanted you to appreciate Totoro more.
I guess that makes sense. It's like,
Although, yeah, I still question the wisdom of like, yeah, we're just gonna first show them the really dark war movie and then show them Totoro. I'm not sure you have like,
I was
were
like,
some kids not traumatized by that? Like,
or at least they're cheered up by Totoro, I guess.
Totoro is lovely. I didn't include it, but I can see an argument for Totoro. So Totoro is Totoro is lovely. I mean, it is just so chill. It's so it's peaceful and it's nice. I think.
Well,
Anyways.
which is well, there's just 3 more Ghibli films on here you haven't talked about and I haven't seen. Which one do you want to talk about next? Because I truly have no clue.
I'll talk about Kaguya.
Kaguya.
The Tale of Princess Kaguya.
Okay.
Not Hayao Miyazaki, but Isao Takahata, who's Ghibli's other sort of co-founder, if you like.
Well, isn't it like both of them have their own kind of style of which direction they go with the story?
Yeah. So obviously, like Spirited Away and Mononoke, they're Miyazaki's work.
Yeah.
Kaguya, Nausicaa, and Only Yesterday are Takahata's work. And really, I think obviously people talk about Miyazaki's stuff more because his stuff is more well known. I think Takahata's stuff, some of his stuff at least, is just as good, if not better.
It's because it's more grounded, right?
It's more grounded. It's more.
He usually goes for the more.
He
usually goes for the more realistic approach,
it's more mature,
or the more.
It's more
mature.
realistic, more mature. Right?
Yeah, he doesn't really include the fantastical elements, which Miyazaki really likes to embrace.
I mean, I will say that actually Kaguya I enjoyed because it's really grounded in the sense of like Japanese folklore, Japanese culture.
Yeah.
And if you sort of watch it, it's almost like a cultural showcase. I almost feel like you have to be like really, really into Japanese culture to sort of understand all the different sort of elements to it. But I think, as someone who doesn't have that sort of background in any sort of way, I'm not Japanese, I don't know anyone who has a sort of background. But you can still go in and watch it and you can sort of appreciate the sort of subject matter, what the story is getting at. It's a little more sort of obscure, it's a little more obtuse in terms of meaning. It's not so explicit in its meaning. It's not like, oh yeah, this is, we should save the environment or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more subtle than that. And the thing that really stands out about Kaguya to me, it has this story, but it also has this really unique art style that I've not seen, anywhere before. Which is, if you go watch it, basically the entire movie looks like it's been drawn in color pencil. Which is like, to me, is amazing. Because it's sort of things they can do with that sort of very unique stylistic art style. And, it just really sort of, it is like watching a painting in motion, like watching a drawing in motion. You know what I mean? Because when you do like a flip book, the basic animation technique, where you sort of flip through the pages really fast, and it looks like characters moving.
Yeah.
It sort of looks like that. And they basically made a whole movie like that. I think it's really, really something special, that art style. And I would love to sort of see more movies in that style, because it is really sort of rich and stylistic. I mean, obviously, when you talk about... Personally, I don't really like the art style of many modern Pixar movies, because I don't think it doesn't really, connect with me. It doesn't really show off, what old animation used to be like. But Kaguya does that. And it came out in 2013, so that really says something.
Yeah, I mean, was it a very traditional approach to animation for a very traditional kind of film?
I mean, I don't doubt that they of course they use computers to help them do it, because otherwise it would take them literally a century to draw everything.
Maybe it'll take them at least 5 years, 6 years.
It would take them a lot of time.
Yeah,
and a lot of, but
yeah.
If you want to see something that's you want to see an animated movie with a different style, a different kind of story, then I would definitely recommend Kaguya, because Kaguya is incredible. The way they do the art and the music, it is almost like it's like a cultural showcase. Which, so yeah, if you're not seeing it, definitely check it out.
Huh. I don't know. Is there
It is recent.
okay.
So,
And you say the standout sort of, I guess, feature of the film is the animation.
absolutely, it's the animation, the art style.
Okay.
It's not even like other Ghibli movies. It's like on a different sort of level. It's a different style. And if you want to watch something that really sort of challenges your notions of what animation should look like, then check it out. I would say.
Thumbs up.
I think
for Sid.
maybe it just comes from like me missing like the old 2D sort of style. Because all these days, animation these days is all it's not like that anymore.
I don't know. What did we have recently? That was a 2D animation film.
I'm sure you can find a few examples, but you know what? My point is, it's not dominant anymore. It's not the dominant style.
I kind of think of a film that was 2D animated recently.
Exactly. So if you want to see something that is that, then Kaguya I would definitely recommend. It's probably, I think, one of the better Ghibli movies, and I think it deserves at least as much attention as Spirited Away. I think. Because people always talk about Spirited Away, the whole menagerie of characters of beasts and spirits being really spectacular. But then, you totally sleep across Kaguya. And Kaguya, I think is just as good, if not better, in that sort of area.
What gave Spirited Away more attention was that the Western audience could understand it more, or
yeah, true. I think
it's easier for them to watch, right? Well,
I think like I was saying about Kaguya, is like if you have like an in-depth knowledge of Japanese culture, you might appreciate it.
Exactly.
But someone doesn't have that. I still really enjoy it. I could sort of maybe because I'm like part Asian, I still kind of
part Asian.
Maybe it's like a whole sort of.
We grew up in Southeast Asian culture too.
So I guess maybe there's something like common you can sort of see in that. Maybe.
Like we grew up in a Buddhist country, which Japan follows.
There's definitely elements of that in Korea.
Yeah.
So
that's why
I guess there is like some crossover, if you like.
That's why I think like anything, most Eastern Asians would relate to more than the Western European culture would. That's why Spirited Away was more successful over there than Kaguya being recognized. Yeah,
I mean, the thing about Kaguya is it didn't win the Oscar; it was nominated, which I'm still kind of salty about because I think like whatever won that year was most definitely better than that. I think. But people give the Oscars shit all the time, so But yeah. Anyways, just a couple more movies to go. I guess I'll talk about Nausicaa first. Nausicaa was. It's not a Ghibli movie, but it's often considered the first Ghibli movie because it's sort of.
It's the same
creator. It's the same creators, and basically the success of Nausicaa led the people. Led the people behind it to make Castle in the Sky, which is the first Ghibli proper.
Yeah.
But Nausicaa, I think, is like. It's one of the few spiritual successors to Star Wars.
Big Hero 6-1.
It's definitely better than Big Hero 6.
Oh, 14. No. The Princess of Kaguya thing. I think he's saying the Big Hero 6.
I know. Yeah, I'm definitely saying it's better than Big Hero 6. that is a travesty, unforgivable.
I love that movie, but I think in terms of... Never trust
that. You have to go watch Kaguya, and then you come back and tell me that you think Big Hero 6 is better than that.
It's very different films.
You tell I'm a little bit salty about this stuff.
Alright, continue with your Nausicaa.
So yeah, I think this film came out in like the 80s. I think it's one of the few sort of spiritual successors to Star Wars. It has that sort of it's in the sort of same rich vein of fantasy and science fiction. I think it's really even though it's old, it's like 40 years old, right? you can still go back and watch it. It still holds up, I think, better than some more recent movies. It has this like, it is this gorgeous sort of post-apocalyptic fantasy. There's so much sort of rich imagery and rich sound. It's also thematically rich, which I think a lot of Ghibli movies are. But yeah, this obviously, if a movie kicks off like Studio Ghibli, then I think you owe it to yourself to see it.
When you watched Nausicaa for the first time, I remember you telling me that it reminded you of The Force Awakens a lot.
In a way, and I think I've seen some people on the internet compare the hero Nausicaa with Rey, and I think perhaps that's something interesting we can talk about, because I think there are a lot of sort of little character moments in Nausicaa where you can sort of see like, okay, maybe J.J. Abrams was sort of, this is where he got material for Rey from, because they're just sort of like, obviously setting aside their sort of character similarities, if you like, there are moments where it's sort of like you can see, or maybe he was inspired by Nausicaa's headgear, for example. Sort of stuff like that. And the way she sort of introduced, it was sort of like, you can almost draw sort of parallels with Rey.
Yeah.
But I'm more like, because obviously when we were doing the whole review Ghibli movies for Presso, this was the first one I watched because it was in the first person in the list, obviously. And I was just absolutely blown away by how good the animation looked, even though it was old. I was blown away about how the story had nuance, how it had great character work. It had, protagonists who were likable and, and strong. And it had antagonists who were not evil, just opposed to the protagonist, and they had their own motivations that were understandable. And then on top of that, the animation, the music, all that kind of stuff. It is probably, I think, one of the best movies I've ever seen. And I can like with confidence I can say that. Counting all the live action movies and stuff like that, it is brilliant, in a word.
And from what I understand, I haven't seen the film, and I think I've seen a bit of the trailer.
It's actually been quite inspirational, I think, including on the guys who made Final Fantasy. They were. I remember reading somewhere they were, because the Chocobos.
Yeah.
They were inspired by something the creators saw in Nausicaa.
Yeah.
So that's a little fun trip.
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, aren't a lot of the quote unquote vehicles or something like just bugs, giant bugs?
No, she has a glider.
Oh.
Which someone actually built in real life, I think. Which is kind of crazy, and it actually worked. They built a glider.
Well, in the poster you picked, what's that next to her?
Oh, so that's an Ohm.
Right.
Essentially, Nausicaa takes place in like far future after sort of industrial civilization has collapsed.
On
and
Earth.
basically, the Ohm are like giant insects that just roam the world and just eat stuff.
Oh, okay.
If you like.
So they're not. Are they hostile?
Well, you have to watch the movie to find out.
Okay, I'll watch the movie.
You should definitely check it out. I think it's like only 2.5 hours, but it is really, really, really good. Promise.
The way you described that just reminds me of Horizon.
Actually, in a way, it's sort of. I've never actually sort of made that connection myself. But I think that's actually. It's actually not too different in that sort of fact. I can definitely see similarities there. So maybe it's like its influence has been more far-reaching than I thought, which is interesting. Yeah, check it out. It is sort of, maybe you watch it, maybe you can actually see that.
Mechanized Horizon, basically mechanized Nausicaa.
I mean, just go check it out.
Sure.
I think there's definitely common ground there.
Well, the last film on here we haven't talked about yet is Only Yesterday. And I know you enjoyed it a lot. I haven't seen anything on the film. I don't even think I've seen a trailer, so I am curious to know why.
Have you not watched the movie?
No.
You never watched this movie? Well, okay, it's... The thing about... Oh, man, Only Yesterday is... It is like the least well-known Ghibli movie of all time, possibly.
Did you watch it
but
only yesterday?
Okay, actually, I'll come on to the title, because that's the English title.
Yeah.
translated into English. The original title in Japanese is I'm going to butcher this. I think it's Omoide Poro Poro in Japanese, which I think in English translates to memories tumbling down, or memories come tumbling down, something like that. Which is a better title, because essentially what this movie is about is it's like a drama about this office worker who is in like her mid-30s and something like that, and basically she decides to go. She takes a break from her office job and she goes to the Japanese countryside to stay with some distant relatives and stuff. And basically the movie is basically all about how, you know, she's reflecting back on her childhood. And the film sort of goes back and forth. It actually uses sort of slightly different sort of art styles, color palettes between her memories and the current day. If you look at it, her memories are more drawn in like a minimalist style, and in her sort of adult days, she is like it's properly drawn. It's like realistic and stuff. So basically, what she does is she sort of reflects on her childhood experiences from her childhood, which I found, you know, I think this is a thing people say a lot about Only Yesterday, because it's actually quite a niche sort of Ghibli movie. It's not something many people have sort of seen. But it's sort of like, it crosses boundaries of culture, it crosses boundaries of gender, you know, and that sort of stuff. And, you know, to find myself relating to a middle-aged woman and her childhood memories was something, you know, something really extraordinary to me. And the whole movie is essentially about how she comes to a greater understanding of who she wants to be and how, you know, how she wants to live her life, if you like. And it sort of suggested that, you know, well, the overall message of the movie is like, you know, you should be doing things you love and you shouldn't waste your life. That's the whole sort of message of the movie. I think, you know, watching it, particularly like at the age when I was first watching it, which is like in my 20s, like my early 20s, was a message that really, really struck me. And seeing this character in this sort of position of not knowing who she was and not knowing, you know, where her life was going. And then, you know, I watch the credits roll and, you know, I eat dinner or whatever it is and I go to bed, right? And when I'm lying awake in like that 5 minutes before you like fall asleep, right? I'm suddenly like, whoa, there's something I can learn from this movie. There's something I can like apply to my own life. And, you know, I think to watch a movie that, you know, inspires you, and it has inspired me to sort of change the way you live a little bit, to sort of think more about like what you value and what you want to do and what you love and that kind of stuff. I think that's really, really special. So I've seen it often described as Ghibli's, you know, sleeper hit, if you like. It's the way I've often seen it described, because it is one of the best movies that Ghibli has ever made, I think. Which is extraordinary because it has you relating to these characters that you know, you don't share like culture or agenda with, like particularly. So, you know, that's interesting.
Okay.
So you should definitely check it out. I mean, I see it like not appealing to some people because, you know, it's a bit slow, and I guess it's not very, you know, action-packed, like Spirited Away and Mononoke and stuff like that. But I think, you know, if even one person goes and watches it and they're like, wow, that was amazing, you know, I've done my job. Because it is really, really good, I think. And it's probably on Netflix too, so.
It is. They put all the Ghibli films on Netflix, right?
I think if you're outside America, that's the case. So if you're inside America, I think you have to go to HBO Max or something like that, because that's where they did the deal. But
poor America.
I mean, yeah, it sucks to be you guys, but
VPN, guys. I know, like almost all of you have a VPN.
We don't endorse anything like that on this channel.
What do you mean? A VPN allows you to change countries so you can get Netflix from other countries.
Sure, you don't have to do that. We're not sponsored by.
That's literally one of the selling points of every VPN sponsorship. It's
I mean,
not piracy.
we're not sponsored by NordVPN.
I
or
didn't
anything.
say which VPN to use, but hey, any VPN services want to sponsor
It
us,
says, "Is this
we're open.
sponsored?" No, it is not sponsored.
We will let you know if it's sponsored. I'm sure there's a way to say, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think like I have a lot of Ghibli movies on there because I think they're some of my favorites. So
Mm.
I think this
Well-
whole thing about like, is Pixar like, can Pixar stand up? Should they win the Oscars all the time? I think no.
Yeah, no one's giving us cash to say anything right now.
Oh man, I wish they were.
But at least you didn't pick a bunch of DC movies. Paris.
No, I think like genuinely, if you haven't seen some of the movies on this list, you should definitely go watch them.
I mean, I feel like there are no DC films that beat
Spirit
a
of the
lot of the Ghibli films.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously there's like a whole different sort of mix in there. I think you have Grave of the Fireflies and you've Only Yesterday, which are kind of more realistic,
Yeah.
a bit more grounded, and then you have more fantastical stuff like Mononoke, Kaguya, Nausicaa, Spirited Away. I think the thing about Ghibli is they do both really well.
No, I'm saying Krishna has not watched enough.
But yeah, I mean, I couldn't just leave Mulan off there. I'd be doing Mulan dirty. Because I was thinking about putting Lion King, because Lion King is really, really good as well. But then I was like, I can't not put Mulan on there. Because Mulan is like, the special one, if you like.
Mm.
So, anyways.
So wait, in this list, you have a particular top one? Is it Milan?
Tie. Nausicaa and Only Yesterday.
Oh,
Touches something.
not Milan?
Mulan is like second.
Okay.
But it's up there. It's up there.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's not like the bottom of the list, but
And is there something on here you wanted to include but you just couldn't?
Oh yeah, I was. This is gonna. I don't think you picked this. Scooby Doo and Zombie Island.
Oh my god! I had the
Isn't that a
DVD.
throwback?
I had the DVD for that film, and I watched it so many times.
I was trying to think like what should I put for my honorable mention? And I was like, this is perfect. This is a perfect. Like it's not quite up there with the rest of these, but it's still like really, really awesome.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
that was such
it-
a fun movie to watch.
Because I was thinking like it was the only Scooby Doo movie like I think that has ever really even like scared me. Because the rest of the time it's actually funny.
Yeah,
Scooby Doo.
it was
But
the
there's
one.
like Zombie Island. I remember as a kid, it scared the shit out of me.
It was the one Scooby Doo movie I could go back and watch over and over again because I had the DVD and I remember as a kid I'd like watch it quite a few times.
It did scare you because it scared me. I like definitely remember being like
I think there were
a little
parts
bit
of it.
scared about it.
It was a long
There are
time
definitely
ago.
parts
so,
of it that are like
yeah.
really dark.
It was a long time ago, so I can't say for sure. But yeah, oh god, that was such a good movie.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking like, because I was thinking like it's something like if the CW bought Scooby Doo and they try to do one of their gritty reboots. Zombie Island is the sort of thing they probably make.
You know, they
I
did
think.
they did one kind of really cool thing with the Scooby Doo IP, the CW people. Do you know the show Supernatural?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
They had a season and they had an episode in there where it's like the two main characters from Supernatural, whereas Sam and Dean Winchester, they get sucked into the TV show and now they're like they're having a crossover with Scooby Doo, and they're all animated and the whole episode's animated and it's so cool to see just as a Scooby Doo fan.
Because I've always thought like Zombie Island is like it's probably the best Scooby Doo thing ever.
Yeah,
It's
and,
like a
and like in that show they constantly have to keep reminding themselves like you can't tell them they're animated. you can't tell them about the real world. They don't know what death is. You can't talk about death. I was like, shit. I was like, yeah, they don't know death that much, do they?
No, but I'm so stoked that you actually remember that movie. Like, not only like you remember Scooby Doo, because everybody knows Scooby Doo, but you remember that movie specifically as well. Because I remember it's like this is a perfect like honorable mention. I think.
It is. It's a good honorable mention for sure. Good throwback.
I bet you weren't expecting that, were you? That was quite a throwback.
I had completely forgotten about it.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Well, I guess.
Actually, scary as well. Well, not scary now, obviously, but like back in the day, that was like.
Back in the
these
day.
days, I'm watching like The Conjuring and stuff like that. And I'm getting this shit scared out of me by that. Back in the day, right? Zombie Island was like the scariest thing out there.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. So we've gone over your list. I think it's time to see who might be next.
I'm actually curious to see because I want to see how many of yours I've correctly guessed.
Let's go.
I feel like you'll surprise me. Oh, it's you.
Oh my god, it is me. The fuck? Did not see that
Did
coming.
you guess that?
Well, I guess I can close this now. Where's the... Right. So I'll move on. So here is my grid.
Ooh, okay. Alright. Some of these I didn't guess. But some of them I did.
Yeah, I think we got 1, 2...
Quite a lot in common,
3.
actually.
We have 4 movies we crossed over. Yeah, I went for Toy Story 2. It was the only Toy Story that actually took it like, you know, they took it in a wider scale, and it's such a good film. And okay, I'll talk about it soon, but just to go over it real quick, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3 is good, but it's not that good. Okay, I feel like people give it too much praise. Toy Story 2 is still better.
There's a whole debate there, I think,
about
which Toy Story. Because I think our rule was that you could only pick one.
One per franchise, of course.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Toy Story 2. Yeah, Toy Story 2, Mulan, Spirited Away, The Incredibles, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Batman Under the Red Hood, Perfect Blue, Akira, and Grave of the Fireflies. So first things first, let's go over the ones that Tim already had. So Mulan, yeah, I enjoyed it for a lot of the same reasons Tim enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm not the same type of Asian Tim is, so I don't have that kind of connection. But
we just say we're not all the same, guys. We're like there's different types of Asian.
But like, for me, I mean, it had like a lot of some of the Buddhist elements which I could relate to as someone who grew up in Hinduism and Buddhism. But Eddie Murphy was cool. The song "I'll Make a Man Out of You" was really fun to sing at karaoke clubs.
No, but have you ever? If you not ever like sung "Reflection" like when you were drunk, have you ever been drunk?
True.
Because I would not like be afraid to admit that I have done that. Because I would tell you, "Reflection," that woman can sing. Okay.
Sid seems to be disappointed neither of us picked Lion King.
Lion King is good, but it's like an obvious pick.
It's very obvious, but honestly, I think all of my picks here I put above Lion King. So.
No, I mean Lion King is good, but the thing, Lion King is like the whole thing is like the opening sequence.
He's only surprised.
He's only surprised. He's not disappointed.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, Mulan. I enjoyed the premise. I enjoyed the plot. I loved to have seen like this Mulan being the person she is. In the time period they chose, where there's a whole lot of sexism. And the fact she went against the system, took over her dad's, was it her dad's order, right?
Yeah, because he's like sent away to like join the army, but he's like
Yeah.
old.
So she pretends to be his son, which I feel like, oh, that's cool. She's basically imposter among us people. She's basically the imposter amongst them. Um, but no, it's really cool to, for me, it's really cool to see like how she can pull this off, how she grows in this role that she's put herself in, because it's made really clear at the beginning, you know, it's like she's not this lady womanly, I guess, ladylike person that society wants her to be or believes her to be.
I mean, I think it's the thing about that is that
Yeah.
I didn't bring this up when we were talking about Mulan earlier, but I think the thing that gets me about Mulan is that like sort of in the early moments of the film, you can see already the qualities that she has that will carry her through the movie.
Mm.
She's not like physically strong in that sense. Nor does she conform to like the idea of what like a woman should be in that society.
Yeah,
But she's resourceful. And you can see
exactly.
that,
Yeah.
and that is like that's what carries it through. You know?
Yeah, you see a
You can see
lot
that.
in the film that she's not trying to prove to be better than the man, but the fact like, look, I can keep up with you guys too, kind of idea. And she's not like, she doesn't have some bullshit chi energy that makes her all powerful.
No, it's because she's resourceful and she's clever
yeah,
and she's brave.
exactly. She's brave, resourceful. She she takes a risk that the other men in the film are not willing to take, or at least the one she comes across. Um, that whole scene, like where she took down the Hans by shooting at the causing an
To cause an avalanche.
yeah, she caused an avalanche. That to me was a really cool scene. I was like, oh, it's so cool. And then like when I grew up, I was like, oh, she just committed mass murder.
Oh, boy.
But still cool. But you know,
No, but
it's a
I'll tell you,
war.
like I said,
It's a war.
yeah, Mulan is full of those like really funny moments that you don't get as a kid. As a kid, you think they're like, wow, so dramatic.
Yeah.
Then like there are like lines in that movie because I remember like, oh man, you know, if you haven't seen This Is on You, right? Anyway, that movie where the Mongol leader is threatening the emperor, and he's like, you know, the scene I'm talking about. He's like, you know, he holds up the sword to the emperor's throat. He's like, bow to me, and the emperor says, you know, what does he say? He's like, no matter how hard the wind howls, like the mountain can bow to it, and you're just like, oh shit. It's like, dude, just got roasted.
Yeah. But no, I really loved it. And there's this also the scene with the ancestors where I think Mushu we first see
Yes.
Mushu. It seems like I kind of like how all the ancestors gave their own like little perspective on like what she's doing. Like, oh, this is a bad idea. I was like, no, let her be. What is this? Like, whatever. And then they assign Mushu like, you're gonna protect her. You're gonna make sure everything's okay. But obviously, you're not gonna turn her around and tell her like, no, don't do this. Like, you're not. That's not your job. Your job is to protect her. So like, cool. They're understanding. They're letting her do what she wants. And then also like the whole scene when she gets exposed, and
Yeah.
and then it's like, you know, you're at that like, oh, what the fuck moment. Like, what do you do now? Like, you just basically killed your family or dishonored your whole family. So it's like, and in that universe, or well, not universe, in that time period, you know, would have been like extremely frowned upon, to the point where you're just shamed to, you know,
The whole family.
yeah, the
Yeah.
whole family is super shamed. But it's cool to see that she still, like, she didn't let that get her down, and she still fought back and tried to prove like, hey, I don't care what you think, the emperor's fucked, so I'm here to help.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I already talked about the grandma.
Yeah, and the grandma.
The grandma is savage. I remember like you were talking about the ancestors. That there's a moment where I think it's like Mulan's mother. She's like, "Oh, I should have prayed to the ancestors for luck today." And then the grandma says, "Do you remember what she says?" Because I'll tell you.
No, you gotta tell me.
She says like, "How lucky can they be? They're dead." It's like, what?
You know what? Fair point.
Wow.
Fair point.
It's like, wow.
But yeah, I think Tim and I already discussed a lot about
Yeah.
Mulan and kind of said why we think it's one of our top 9 movies for animation. And then there's Spirited Away. Tim already went a lot into it, and I myself really, really enjoyed it, mainly because of the not mainly because of the world that Miyazaki kind of designed in this movie. It's just really cool to see how creative everything was, like how they use the creatures or how the creatures are designed in this film and how they interact with each other, how the whole like this fantastical world even like functions. It was really cool to see. And
I
just like
think like when I first watched that movie, I found myself in the protagonist position almost because I remember like seeing
yeah.
it's the movie's a little weird. You know, if you
Mhm.
come from like a background where from Pixar, say, if you only watch Pixar movies, Disney movies, you come from that kind of background, which I did
Yeah.
at that point. It's like everything Pixar movies are like it looks nice, it looks normal. And you go to Spirited Away, everything's kind of weird. You're not
Mhm.
really sure if like that character is like a good guy or a bad guy. You're not really sure if he's gonna do something
Mhm.
like to the main character. So
Yeah.
you're kind of like in the same position because the main character like in that movie, she doesn't really know that either. She's sort of like, oh, okay, I don't really, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't really know what's going on.
It's like no
But
one in the film is exactly the bad guy.
yeah, exactly.
Which is it's just like was it the old woman who was keeping everyone's names? She was just a bitch.
Because you know the whole thing about that is like I was like really weirded out. I think by the characters and the spirits and that kind of stuff. But then like as the movie goes on, it's like actually this is fine. This is
Mm.
they're actually like unique and they have their own personalities and stuff like that, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and what I found really cool while watching it is like it feels like a dream. It feels like someone
Oh yeah,
had a dream of this exact movie and just fully realized it into a movie. And it's so cool to
yeah,
see.
yeah, exactly. It's like I drew everything from like I was dreaming and I had like my imagination ran wild. Like I dreamt of this massive bathhouse with like hundreds of spirits, and you know they all look different.
Yeah, it's like I dreamt my parents turned into pigs and then I had to get them back from this really old lady who took my name away so I couldn't remember my name in the dream. And it's like, and then
It's
there's
like
this dragon boy who whisked me away.
because you know I love. There's a scene in that movie I just absolutely love, which is when she runs back to like she first runs and tries to get her parents, and she
Yeah.
just runs through the town as it's the town is sort of coming alive with spirits, and you know she's like she's going like oh no, it's like as all the spirits come out, you can see their shadows, and she just gets to the point where she you know she crossed over to the spirit world or whatever it is, and it's like you know there used to be like a small bed of stones, and now it's like a massive river and this massive ship just comes in carrying like tons of spirits across the water. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking film, and I love all the side characters and even the villain character. I loved it all. Like I appreciated
Yeah,
everyone. I liked where everyone's coming from, and it's just really cool to see them interact. Uh, like everyone kind of makes sense of like, yeah, we know what she's doing is kind of fucked, but we understand. But we roll with it, and then there's a reason behind that. It's like this is just how it works. It's like the spider guy with the guy with the multiple arms and the mustache.
in the running the furnaces.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
With the
just
suit sprites.
yeah, I just feel like his attitude was like I'm basically working for a corporate company and this is just my job, but you should probably not suffer for this, so I'll help you out. Kind of thing.
But yeah, it's you know it's really well known and it's iconic almost, and you know for good reason. It's not like overrated or anything. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like really good.
That's I really enjoyed it. The other, I guess the next film I want to move on to, which we also talked about, was The Incredibles. Now,
Again,
I agree
you know,
with you. One of the best superhero films. I love the setting it takes. Was it the 80s? It takes place in the 80s, right? or
They're
similar.
not very specific, but like on that point, I think so.
They
It's
had
sort of like
they had an estimate, I think. I forget what it was though. But yeah,
I don't know.
I just really loved the film and the whole like
Oh, you know who we didn't mention yet?
what
Edna Mode.
Edna Mode. Oh, she was so good.
What a legend.
Nookips.
No case.
I love them.
Edna is fantastic.
I loved Edna. But I remember Incredibles. Like I loved the prologue. I just loved the animation style, the lighting in it, just the visuals basically. And then like was it when Incrediboy first comes in, and then
Yeah.
how Bob like treats him is like kind of like, oh, it's kind of sad that you feel sorry for Incrediboy for him not acknowledging him properly, or not
Yeah.
being as supportive. Then you get kind of annoyed at the kid for almost fucking up the whole thing when he gets a bomb attached to him. Also, that whole
Yeah.
scene where he's trying to get the bomb off him, and then the train, and it's like, ooh, so cool.
I think it's one of their best movies, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember like when it first came out, I was like super into it. I was like a huge, I don't know, like I was so into it. That movie.
And the whole, I kind of, I found it really amusing when we see Bob retired and he's working at a customer service insurance company, yeah. And then he gets so annoyed at the boss, he punches him through like 10 walls.
Yeah.
Oh god. And then I'm just like at that point, part of me did like wonder, like when I watched it again, like later in my life, I was like, do they not have secret identities? Because I can't remember that particular.
Yeah, they
detail.
did at that point because there was like a program that I think the movie started explaining like they would have to like move the family and stuff if that kind of happened because they kind of gave it away.
Yeah.
That they had superpowers. You know what was funny about that? The whole you brought up the insurance thing, and I was just gonna. You know what was funny at the time? At the time the movie came out, I was watching. My dad actually worked in insurance.
Oh.
It was kind of like, yeah. So it was kind of like in the years since that movie came out, we would like meme on him because it was kind of like, are you doing the same thing as Mr. Incredible? You're stuck in like that tiny cubicle and just like.
It's like, did you punch your boss through 10 walls?
Yeah.
I guess they did have to move, and he had to find a new job just because he exposed his powers, right?
Yeah, I think so because you had that guy who's, I think it's like his name is Rick or something.
Yeah.
The old guy who was like responsible for that.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
They also have their.
You know
backs.
the guy I'm talking about,
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They also have their backs, and they're super nice. He's super nice to the family and all.
It's such a great movie. The sequel was just not as good.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, and I think when I remember specifically when Dash first figured out he could run on water, it was such a cool moment to see. He just like he like took the risk and he just ran into it. I was like, oh, that's cool. He's running on water. And then the whole sequence when he's getting chased by one of those TIE fighter knockoffs.
Oh yeah, the spinning discs.
Yeah, the spinning discs.
The UFO things, yeah.
Yeah, when he's getting chased, and then like there's that point in the chase where he just stops, and then in a few seconds he's on the water, and then just dips down. Visually, that was just really cool to see. I remember really like it really like fueled the energy.
Oh, man, I loved Dash when that movie came out. Because I think I was around the character's age when that came out, so I was kind of like, it's just so weird that it's been literally, I don't know how it is for you. It's been literally years since I've seen that movie. I can still remember like so many scenes from it.
I absolutely love that movie. It's one of the few Disney Pixar films that I did enjoy, like fully, like as much as Incredibles.
I don't think there's anything that's quite gotten the same reaction out of it.
Exactly. Like it's exciting, It's exciting, it's thrilling, and then the comedic timings are so well done. It
Yeah,
doesn't it
it's
doesn't
actually really
feel
funny as well.
forced. Yeah, it never feels forced. And then there's like the dark side of it a little bit, like when he's like scrolling through the computer with the
Oh yeah,
deceased, terminated, like all
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, Syndrome killed a lot of heroes. What the fuck?
It's like,
Uh,
yo, this is more like Watchmen or something.
yeah.
It's like, what is happening?
Yes, they even had like that black and white photo and the news reports. I was like, yeah, this is Watchmen, but better.
Better than Zack Snyder's Watchmen.
Well, I can't say anything about the
Incredible.
comics. I haven't really got into it. I'm sure they're good, and I hear the TV show's really good.
Mm.
But yeah, Incredibles, great, great film. And I guess the last movie on here that I have, which is connected to yours, is Grave of the Fireflies. And honestly, I have this here because I think it's the only movie that's, well, it's not the only movie, but it's one of the movies that got me feeling the saddest ever. So I would agree with you to say that it is the saddest movie of all time.
I think I think the thing about it is I don't know how your experience of it was, but I was watching. I wasn't feeling. It was emotional, but it wasn't like anything I hadn't experienced before. Then there's a point in that movie where it just suddenly like hits you like a ton of bricks, and you're just like, oh shit! Like where did that even like? Jeez, just out of nowhere,
Yeah.
almost.
No, first it's
It's like
like
it's you.
it's first it's like very like when they're setting up their situation,
Yeah,
their living situation and all, and like how they're dealing with it. I was like, okay, yeah, this, like, you kind of understand, like, yeah, it's a war, and they're not getting to, they kind of lost their way of living because of it, because their home got destroyed and their parents are gone, and so they're like surviving on their own. Uh, they have relatives, and it's like, yeah, you it would make sense to live with relatives, but then that doesn't work out, and then you're like, shit. And then it comes, and then something happens, and then you're like, oh my god, I didn't see this coming, and then it really hits
yeah,
you at the end. It's like, oh, that's why
yeah.
this character was doing this the whole time, because they had, I don't want to say too much, but oh god, oh,
It is.
it still
It is
hurts.
really, really powerful.
It still hurts to think about.
It's a really powerful movie. I think interestingly, like we can talk a little bit about like the whole message of it, because I know Takahata, who made the movie, he actually said that it wasn't meant to be like an anti-war movie, which
I
I don't know, because
mean,
I
I
don't know if like
mean,
I agree with that. Personally, it's something to disagree with like the creator of work, right?
no, I
Because
mean,
obviously, like we
I,
would know it better
s-
than him.
I see his point. It's not an anti-war movie. It's just more to show, like, you can show this to a guy who, you can show this to a Tony Stark kind of guy, the guy before Iron Man, and he won't care. He just cares about the money. So in a way, it's not affected him. Uh, he's like, oh, that's sad. I'm still selling my shit though, because I'm making billions of dollars. Sad truth
It
of
is
war.
actually it is actually I think he was actually based on like a it was based on like a book or something actually.
Mm,
Um, so a lot of people don't know this, but it's actually based on the story of this guy who wrote his autobiography. Who I think something similar actually happened to him. Obviously during the Second World War in Japan, something actually similar happened to him. Like he lost his sister or something like that
yeah.
when she starved, and it was actually like I think this was the case. He actually wanted to make the movie or something. He wanted to tell the story because out of like he felt like survivor's guilt,
Yeah.
which is part of the movie, part of the reason why he wrote about it, and then they got made into a movie.
Mm.
So that's actually something. It's more based more based in that real life, more grounded than some of your other movies. I think.
Mm. Okay. But yeah, I think we've talked a lot about Girl of the Fireflies, and It aches my heart just thinking about the plot of Grave of the
Yeah, I was
Fireflies.
just like, we were just talking about it. I was like, oh, still feeling it a bit. It's like, I don't think it ever leaves you, to be honest. It's like,
No, not really.
ugh.
I think, yeah, if you like are sitting down with someone and having a talk about the film, then it's like you're gonna remember everything you felt, and it just overwhelms you a little bit.
Yeah,
It
it's like, oof.
just
Yeah,
comes in waves, like, oh my god, I remember that. That was super sad.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if there's anything more we can really say about Grave of the Fireflies other than it's a really sad movie and everyone should watch it at least once. Or at most
It is
once.
like
Sorry.
an essential experience, just because it will probably destroy you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, let's move on. Now I can start talking about the movies that weren't on Tim's list. So it's 5 films that
We
weren't
had
on
a lot of
his
overlap,
list.
which is interesting because, like, in the previous one, we didn't have any.
I think I had a suspicion you would put Mulan and Spirited Away. Uh,
Well, I mean,
yeah,
Spirit is always going to be on there. Like,
yeah.
when I started this list, I was like, the first thing I wrote was like Spirited Away.
That's also,
Yeah,
yeah. I did the same thing. The first thing I put was Spirited Away. Uh,
you literally like, and then I was like, what else? You know, The Incredibles. Yeah, I mean,
but
it's
yeah,
always going to be on there.
yeah, but yeah. So about Toy Story 2 and why I think it's the best Toy Story film. So, uh,
I don't know if I agree with you, but I think I could be persuaded.
which Toy Story is your favorite, Tim?
I think three.
3 as well?
Mm.
Why? Why 3? I mean, it's not bad. I'm not saying Toy Story 3 is bad, but I feel like 2 just does better. Like,
I think I can make, you know, it. Mm, well,
okay, so because I know it's about like what Toy Story 3 is like about moving on, right?
yeah,
Leaving
I think
behind the
maybe
past.
that was quite a common theme for me. I think in
Mm,
some of the movies I listed.
yeah.
So I guess maybe that's what it comes from.
No, for me, I like Toy Story 2 because I think it's for the creativity behind it, behind the plot, behind the world, behind like this, they go to a freaking toy store, and that whole sequence in the toy store, just seeing how every toy like comes to life and they kind of hang around and hang out is kind of, in my opinion, a really cool thing to see happen. And how their take on it and all. Um, but also like that whole there's the film also has the sequence where Woody's being cleaned.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And for me, I remember when I watched it, it was satisfying but uncomfortable at the same time. Do you know what I
I
mean?
think, yeah, I think I do. I think, I think you could make an argument for just about any of the films in the
Yeah.
Toy Story.
But
I think.
that film, I think, when that sequence happened, I think the part that really gets to you is that the dude like paints her the Andy name, and he's like, "Ooh, he's no longer
Yeah,
Andy's."
yeah, yeah.
Because that's the only thing that marked him to be, like part of the family. Um, yeah, that
It
scene
is
is
pretty. It is
iconic.
pretty. I think it is pretty emotional.
Yeah, but I did like Buzz Lightyear. He was like very on board with like, yeah, we're gonna go get Woody back because he got me back in the first film, and it's like he's paying him back for doing that.
I
And
will ask you. Like, I think they are doing. They are doing like a spin-off, a Buzz Lightyear spin-off.
yeah,
Not about the actual action figure, about the actual character.
the character, yeah, they had a TV
Yeah.
show, which was really, I think I really enjoyed as a
What
kid.
did they?
Yeah, they had a TV show. I think they had a movie too, but no, I think they had a
Because I think
movie and then they did a TV show, both animated based on the character.
because you know they're doing a new. They had like Chris
Yeah,
Evans.
they're doing the new one. Yeah, it's like almost stripping away from what made him Woody. It's a very that's why I'd say like it was satisfying to watch visually, but knowing the context behind it, it's kind of uncomfortable to see it all go down. Um, but yeah, it's just really cool to see the whole like the what was his name, the guy who quote unquote kidnaps Woody. What was his name? Do you remember? Was it Al? I think it was Al.
You might be. I haven't seen Toy Story 2 in ages.
Yeah, but the guy in the chicken costume is trying to sell his Toy Story. Uh, I
I'm
remember.
gonna have to look.
I remember the whole
think it is
scene
Al.
where he fell asleep of watching TV, and you remember how they like go up and crawl up and like they're moving chips around and they're trying to grab something from him. I can't quite remember. But I remember watching the whole film being so tensed in the moment. It's like, ooh, are they gonna wake him up? You see, it's like, what's gonna happen here?
Yeah, Toy Story. Toy Story is something special. Definitely.
Sid, what the fuck?
Um,
One moment, my building might be on fire.
Stace, you should probably go check that out.
Yeah, you should probably check.
Just, just saying. We'll
Better
be there.
better safe than sorry, man.
I said might. Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, Toy Story 2. The whole, yeah, again, the toy store scene, I love that. And I really, what was it, when they go to the airport and they see how the conveyor belt, you know, how they're like chasing each other down, trying to get to where they want to go. And the villain of the movie, which is the lumberjack guy, is that? Oh, fuck, what? The old dude. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, it's not on fire. Good. So yeah, I remember just the whole conveyor belt scene. It's just I think visually is just like a really cool, really cool movie to watch. And then they had what was it? They had the Pizza Planet car from the airport where they're chasing down another car. Do you remember?
Pizza cart.
Pizza delivery car.
Pizza delivery car.
Tim, it comes in
God,
every.
it's been so long since I've watched that.
Hold
It's
on,
been years.
hold on. A little behind the scenes. Let me show him. Let me show Tim what I'm talking about. Here. Do you see
Oh
it?
shit! Yeah.
Yeah. So that whole chase sequence too, how they have the toys like pushing down on the pedals and stuff and navigating and I don't know, the whole film was such a joyride.
Yeah, I can definitely see why you put it on.
Is it
First, I didn't have
joyride?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't too much into Toy Story when I was a kid, so
I really enjoyed one was very creepy, Toy Story 1. Toy Story 2 was a huge joyride. Toy Story 3 was just a lot of denial from Woody. Me.
Toy Story 3, like I said, it just hits me on the same level as many of the movies I listen.
I mean,
So
yeah.
maybe
I see
I mean-
why people like 3, but I prefer 2.
that's fair.
But yeah, I think there's not much else I can really say about 2 other than, it's a joyride of a film. It's an original idea in a way. And the whole going cross country and having the toys go to that scale to find Woody again, and then the toy store sequence again, and all of that is just really cool to see unfold, and how they tackled all those challenges in terms of like, guys, how do we make this make sense? Should the Barbie girls be like cheerleaders? And then, and then they brought back new toys.
So,
Part of the family. And Buzz
I
Lightyear
wanna
got
talk
a
about-
girlfriend.
I want to talk about Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, which I, to be honest, I guess that you would have this.
Of course, it's on there too. Why wouldn't it
For
be?
me, it was like I was gonna put it on there, but for me, it was like, do I put that in the Incredibles? Like only one superhero movie. And it
No.
was like the Incredibles is
I
better.
had 3 superhero movies.
Like the Incredibles is better. I think. But,
No,
no, I can see like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is an acceptable inclusion because it is really good.
wow, only acceptable. I don't know. Spider-Man to Spider-Verse, I think, takes was it well obviously it's is it the
They love the
first
character.
time?
They
Yeah.
love the character.
It's the
The
first
whole
time we
yeah.
see this Spider-Man hit the big screen. I've known about Miles Morales for a while now because I follow the comics as well. So to see him make it and then be so well received by the public and no one made the bullshit reasoning, not reasoning, the bullshit opinions of like, why is Spider-Man black? No.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, who changed him? I actually did see some comments like that, and then people always have to reply to them to say like, guys, he's a real character from the comics. Just freaking educate yourselves.
Yeah. But
But
I think it is really good because it is
yeah,
it
the
gets
whole
the character, it gets what Spider-Man is about.
yeah, it gets the character. I like the whole uncle dynamic and the cursed Spider-Man backstory. What backstory? Up and coming, yeah, backstory, where he obviously loses his uncle, and yeah, it's rough.
I mean, there was this whole thing about how a lot of superhero movies these days they try to look more realistic, but then Into the Spider-Verse it actually tries to look like a comic book.
Yeah, it's straight from a comic book,
That kind of stuff.
and
Like that's something I really like actually because it's sort of like the whole thing like back in the past where comics used to be like a thing for like nerd stuff.
yeah,
These days it's kind of like more mainstream.
Mhm.
So for me, that is just like they were like, let's embrace it. Let's embrace the whole like, culture that surrounds it.
they embraced the art style for many different styles.
Exactly,
guess.
yeah. And it's just like let's just be wacky. Let's do something that only they can do. You can only do in animation. So
Exactly.
that's a good example, actually.
Yeah, and it's like layered. It's layered quite well. It's like 2D, 3D mixed, and seeing like the 12 frames per second idea, like interesting take. I know some people got really nauseated by watching it in
Oh,
12
did
frames
they?
per second. Yeah, apparently some people
Okay.
like they got really uncomfortable, like their eyes felt really uncomfortable trying to watch it in 12 frames per second.
Because
Uh,
it's like
yeah, but I really liked like the whole thing like that people pointed out. Like you notice how Peter Parker is like in was it 24 frames per second, which is the regular frames per second for movies, and then you see Miles who's 12 frames per second, side by side. These two characters are moving at different frames, only to show that Miles is inexperienced compared to Peter Parker.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I
it's
think
really
it's a
cool.
lot of cool like visual tricks.
Yeah, it's unique and the
You mentioned
animation was new and really effective for the storytelling. Yeah, it was very effective, and like the whole comic book art style does really, really, really well for this type of film, and I'm very excited for the sequel.
oh yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, the whole
I remember
like
actually we were waiting so long for this movie to come out because we heard it was so good, but the cinemas in Thailand. I remember this. They
they
took forever to release it.
they
Or
delayed
something.
it
It was
just
like
to
a
release
couple
it
of
on
months late.
Children's Day.
And I remember we were so pissed off about that because we were like, we want to see this movie. We want to see this movie. And they're like, we'll just hold it for 2 months. I'm like,
Yeah, we'll hold it for 2 months, but no big deal.
so annoying.
Yeah,
It did eventually get sold.
yeah, it did. But yeah,
I think best Spider-Man movie.
again, like art wise is great, soundtrack is great.
Oh yeah, soundtrack.
Soundtrack, yeah, it's amazing, and the fact they embrace like the art style of each of the characters from the different universes, and they've kind of made it a point to say also like their universes just looks different like artistically, so that's not going to change just because they're in a different universe. They're sticking to that art style, which is again really really unique for them to do. um and I kind of enjoyed like was it Spider Pig or Spider Ham?
Yes.
Yeah, like
John Mulaney.
yeah, John Mulaney's Spider-Man. They kept the cartoony trope of the character. Like, you want a mallet? Here it is. Like, where'd you bring it out from? It's like, you really need to question that.
It is just so wacky. That film. It's like they're just like combining everything, and it should be chaos, but it's like it just goes together so well.
Yeah, Sid. I also hope we see more unique ways of, like bringing
Neat
anime
way of bringing
films to
comic
it.
films to the
Yeah.
Yeah, this is part of the reason I think why I got off superhero movies. So I don't see they've gone into like a they reached their point, and it's just sort of like they're
Yeah.
doing a lot of the same thing. I think the Spider-Verse really stood out because it was like really actually something different.
Yeah. And like the cinematography in it was great too. Like when he jumps off when he jumps off a building.
I'm still listening to Sunflower. Like I'm not embarrassed to admit that. It is a great song.
When he jumps off the building to make his leap of faith.
Yeah. And the whole point about him going upwards instead of down.
Yeah, because they had a few was it earlier in the film he just went down, which was like and then they had the letters too, and this one's like woo.
What do you think of stuff like Invincible, Boys? Too? Well, I mean, that's the question. I haven't seen Invincible, but I remember watching The Boys, and The Boys is good, but again, it's sort of like it doesn't really do it for me. I don't think.
The Boys is good. I can see why it's not for everyone, but I would recommend it to people who are kind of tired of the basic superhero movies.
But I know I'm tired of it, but then even watching The Boys didn't really do it for me. I don't know why. It just seems like.
But Invincible, I think is a little harder to get into. Not because of the story, because the story is great, and it's the animation which might turn some people off because it's very much like the more recent DC animated films, but a little bit better because they have a bit better budget. But because they're animated and animation films require more budget, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, Amazon didn't give Invincible all the budget. So what the Invincible team had to do is they're kind of like, what's the word? They're using their budget very precisely. Like there's some sequences they want to make look really good, so they put a lot of their budget in that, and then later on it looks a little less okay. Like it still looks consistent throughout, but if you're like a fan of the animation, like if you're like fan of animation, you're like looking at where the budget's going, you can kind of tell where the budget's going. But I think they've been confirmed for season 2 and 3, and I'm hoping that their budget goes way up because it's looking.
I think
good.
Invincible, yeah, they have, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of minimalism only because it's kind of most of it's because they kind of have to do it so they can save their budget for something later in the episode or in the season. But I would recommend Invincible to anyone who hasn't watched it yet.
Yeah, I think not like I'm not the only person who's like a little bit tired of superheroes in general as a concept. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously there is stuff they're trying to push the boundaries of the genre or whatever. But even then, it's like kind of.
Yeah, but
yeah, I totally get like why people love Marvel and that kind of stuff, and I'm like, more power to you if you want to go watch that. But I'm
no, Invincible is not a Marvel property.
I know. I'm just saying, like in general, like when people are talking like Black Widow and they're talking about whatever's coming next. I'm not like, okay.
Invincible is not like that. So Invincible it's rated R first of all. Cartoon, but rated R. So hopefully no parents showed it to their kids because you really, really don't want to show Invincible to your kids. Just you don't. It's gonna scar them for life. It's so fucked up that sometimes. Because it gets so gory. The animated gore is it's incredibly gruesome. But the story, like it starts off very much like you would expect from a superhero kind of show or movie, but it turns it around pretty early on. So I think
I
it's
think
like
I think I've honestly like I've reached this point where it's like not only like am I over superhero stuff, it is like now increasingly difficult to even convince me to watch anything with it. To be
no, you
honest,
have to watch Invincible though. Too.
I
It's
think
got Jake.
I think I reached that point where
It's
it's
got
like
J.K. Simmons in it.
yeah.
Think more. Anyway, Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse, really enjoyed it. Excited for the sequel because now we're getting Spider-Man 2099, and I think it's one of my more favorite Spider-Man characters.
It also confirmed someone's voicing Spider Woman. I just saw that recently.
Yeah, I forgot her name. It
Cool,
started
I'm
with a
stoked.
J. It started with a J.
I'm stoked for that and can't wait.
Mm.
So
But let's move on. Yeah, Tim,
Batman
it's only 8 episodes, Tim. Invincible. It's very short too, I think. No, it's not. I don't know. Anyway,
Let's talk about Batman.
Batman Under the Red Hood. Now I'm surprised, first of all, when Krishna told us his list or part of it, he did not have Under the Red Hood on there, which I would argue is the best DC animated film that DC's ever done.
Don't know if I agree with you there.
Really, what would you put above this?
Dark Knight Returns.
No, debatable.
No, because just because of the part one, that scene where he fights the mutant leader, that is a legendary scene.
I don't know. Batman Under the Red Hood, I think it's the first time the wider audience got the introduction to Jason Todd and his journey to becoming the Red Hood. And it's not scared to take the darker tone to show like what fucked up shit happened to Jason Todd. And it really shows like the enemy is Red Hood, right? That's how the trailer and the film kind of portrays it to be for a lot of it. But then you really find that Joker is the one who caused this to happen, but Batman is also partly responsible in a way, or at least he takes the blame, or half the blame of what happened to Jason Todd. And it's just like it's very character driven. And we see that Red Hood is basically a more violent Batman. He disagrees with Batman's ways of doing things, and he's like, I can do things, but I can do it better than you because I know when I can cross the line you can't cross. And it's that whole idea of like Batman trying to justify himself and be like, no, you can't kill these villains. It'll just, like, you'll just be as bad as they are if you do so. And, but it's just that whole like they're fighting to prove their own ideology or their own sense of justice.
I think I would say like the whole thing about superheroes like I was talking about. I'm more amenable to Batman than other superheroes. I think. Just because Batman is he's different in that sort of sense. He's not like
exactly.
I think I enjoy Batman more than other superheroes, traditional superheroes. Like I'll still watch Batman. Just Batman.
But yeah,
I'm stoked for the Robert Pattinson.
Me too. I'm pretty stoked for that. But yeah, Under the Red Hood. Just you get introduced to Red Hood. You don't know who he is. You don't know what's going on. You just know he knows Batman too well, and Batman doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Kind of like Arkham Knight did it, but they did it better because it was not as obvious.
Right.
I mean, now everyone knows who Red Hood is, so this film will probably not have that shock factor in a way as you would want. But I think it still holds up if you want to go. Like, I'd still recommend it to people now if someone wants to watch a Batman animated film. Yeah. Under the Red Hood, that's basically all I have to really say. Just a really good Batman movie. And I don't know if there's anything that can really beat it.
Dark Knight Returns.
I don't know.
Did you not? I know because you recommended that movie to me.
I did, but I think I still
I
put
really
Red
enjoyed
Hood.
it.
I
So
still put Red
I think
Hood.
it's still like, yeah, okay. Fair. I mean, I think still think like Dark Knight Returns is one of the best Batman movies,
Mm,
like including live action.
yeah.
It
I don't
is.
know. I really, really enjoyed it though. Anyway, yeah,
Some
there's
more
not.
anime. Just showing your weeb side.
Of course,
I mean, coming from me, who have like what is it, 5 Studio Ghibli movies on this
yeah,
thing,
but I only
which
have two Ghibli
I'm really
movies.
positioned to talk.
I have two Ghibli movies.
No, that's only because you haven't seen the ones I recommended.
Doesn't matter. These are better.
I mean, okay, I haven't seen Perfect Blue, but I've seen Akira.
Well, you need to watch
Akira,
Perfect
Akira
Blue.
is on my list as well. It was like I was like really considering it.
How have you not put Akira? Okay, I'll get to Akira later. Uh, uh,
Talk about Akira last because I love Akira. But...
yeah, I'll talk about it last. But look, Perfect Blue is basic. Okay, so what Perfect Blue is about is this uh when you first see our character, you know, she's retiring from being a Japanese pop idol from her group called Champ. And she's retiring from the pop idol because she wants to be an actress. So throughout the film,
as you do.
yeah. So throughout the film, it's basically her agency, or you know, her agent is trying to help her get big in films, and part of uh part of the
Yeah, I'm gonna
way.
say this right now. This sounds like some dark shit. Is it dark?
Hold on. Part of the way, it's dark. It's dark.
Okay.
Part of the way to do that is to strip. At least she believes it's to like strip away her image as a, you know, what she was before, a pop idol. And you know,
Yeah. Okay.
pop idols are generally known to be very pure, very go happy, or you know, like a Barbie doll. I don't know. But yeah, she's trying to strip that image away while she's trying to pursue her acting career and try to make herself, you know, like she's trying to make herself what's the word?
He's like, oh, sounds like she's trying to change her image.
She's trying to change her image to be more accepted as an actress.
Okay.
Um,
So she's doing like something that challenges her as like an actress and stuff.
yes, but like not exactly by her choice. She's being presented choices, and she's doing what she feels is best. And then it's very it's okay. So the genre is mystery thriller, and it's a very psychological thriller.
Okay.
And
I'm intrigued.
and what it does, it's like this film is very fucked up, by the way. Fair warning for anyone who watches it, because I think people who I've recommended this movie to, I've said like, I always give them a warning saying like, you will feel uncomfortable because the movie is very visual. First of all, it wants to send a lot of its messages visually, and obviously, you know, the dialogue is just as important. And I've been also, for those about sub versus dub, I've seen a lot of comments about which one to watch, either subbed or dubbed. I watched it subbed and I really enjoyed it. Well, I don't know. I don't know about enjoyed it, just more like felt very uncomfortable. But from what I've seen people about talking about dubbed, I think it's like just as good. It's just this one minor you'll feel one minor change by the end of the film is what people said. So I don't know about dub, but sub I would recommend. But anyway, so basically, as she's going through this process, she's I don't want to spoil anything, so
It's that kind of movie. It's like fucking.
it's a psychological thriller. Okay, so what's happening is like she's like fighting with herself, her old self. You know, because it's like she's almost being haunted by her old image in her head. So she's kind of going crazy. Like think like Memento. Think Memento. Think I don't know. It's just like I don't know what's a better example than Memento. That's But basically, there's things happening. The film starts like really blurring the lines between what's real and what's fake, what's a dream or what's acting. What
Okay.
she's, it's like you are basically the film is doing what yeah what the film is basically doing is putting you in her eyes, her shoes. So whatever you're seeing, she's seeing. Whatever you believe, she believes. Or whatever she believes, you believe, I should say. You know, you're figuring out this psychological thriller mystery as she is, and it all really unfolds up until the end, and then it kind of makes sense by the end. But uh, there's like there's just so much shit happens, and
This actually does sound like something I would check out.
you really
So
really should. But again, fair warning, it's extremely uncomfortable.
you will be uncomfortable.
You'll
Yeah.
be extremely uncomfortable because I sure was. I was watching this, and I literally
I
I literally
actually heard
like,
about it. Is it something
like
you checked out?
no, another friend recommended to me a while
Okay.
back, and then
So
I
it's
was
like you're passing on a curse, pretty
pretty much.
much.
He just told me it's a really good film, so I asked him what it's about, and
Wow, with no
he
context.
he just told me, it's like, I don't want to say too much. Uh, it's a little dark, but just watch it. I was like, all right, sure. I'm like, it's a little dark, bro. What?
You know, you gotta say that because you say it's like it's if you say it to someone it's like fucked up, then you reduce the chances they're gonna watch it because then you're like, you
I
know what I
don't
mean?
know.
What do
But
you say? Like, that's like the same as me saying, "Oh, the Grave with the Fireflies." It's a little sad. It's a little emotional. Yeah,
mm, but
that's all I'm gonna say about
this movie freaking had me like questioning society, questioning like what I just saw was real, what I just saw was fake. Like I'm questioning literally everything the character starts questioning later on. And then I was like, fuck, the film's doing a really good job. And the sound design, being that it's a thriller, like whenever she feels uncomfortable, the score really like starts ramping up and makes you feel really, really anxious. And you're like, shit, is something about to happen? Someone about to pop up? Um, it's like but like nothing happens per se. It's just about like the score is like emphasizing on her feelings, and it kind of gets to you and makes you feel the same way she's feeling. And I was like, oh my god, this movie is amazing, but extremely uncomfortable. But once you watch it, you'll see why it's so good.
it. It actually does sound like something interesting.
Mm. Yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's one of the
Just keeping in mind, it's
few-
completely
yeah.
very disturbing.
Yeah, and yeah, is yeah, like was it what's that disclaimer messages people write, explicit images or whatever. It is, I would say it's rated R. Possibly, games they get AO. I would say this is AO.
Okay, all right.
Adults
I don't
only.
actually know that. I didn't actually know that any games have AO. I thought like
San
they don't.
Andreas
They
did.
don't even give it.
San
Oh,
Andreas
did it?
did, and the
That's because
game.
like that was back when people were so scared of video games.
I think the
These days, nothing
more.
gets.
I think the more recent one was Hatred, if you remember that.
Yeah, okay, but like every once in a while. But like I don't think
Yeah,
anything gets AO.
yeah, I know. But I'm
Like
just
nothing gets
saying,
AO.
I would give Perfect Blue an AO.
Because you know the whole thing about like the AO games don't sell because I don't think Sony allows them
Because
particularly.
yeah, I think if you're like particularly sensitive about your own feelings and stuff, then Perfect Blue will
This
probably
is gonna fuck me.
really fuck you up. Uh, but no, I said because I told someone recently, and I told them like, hey, watch Perfect Blue, really great film. Fair warning, you will for sure feel very uncomfortable watching it. And they're like, they thanked me for the warning because they're like, yeah, I generally would like if I'm watching something like that, I would like that kind of warning. So I'm like, all right, cool. Uh, so we'll see how they think of it. But I don't know. But yeah, definitely give it a watch.
I'm actually like I have a few anime movies that I've been meaning to watch. Like I have a DVD of I don't know if you heard of Mirai.
Mirai?
Yeah.
Can you spell that?
Mirai.
Mirai.
I
No.
don't know. I was trying to get. I watched Your Name because Your Name is like everybody watch Your Name.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a guy at the DVD shop. He was like, "Oh, you should check this one out as well."
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
Ask the
So I
guy.
still have that DVD. I haven't checked it out, but like one of these days, I'm gonna sit down and watch it. I'm meaning to.
But yeah, watch.
I like how there's like one person on this chat, and it's Sid, and he's just listening to us talking about being weebs the whole time. It's like a significant amount of this podcast has just been us like weeding out.
Pretty much. But yeah, Perfect Blue. Watch. I don't know. I think you can watch it on Crunchyroll. So the way I watched it.
Yeah, yeah, boy has to get
Wait. Let me see. Because they have the full movie on. What do you call it? They have the full movie on YouTube, and for some reason, YouTube hasn't taken it down. But it's dubbed.
Oh boy. Okay. I mean, there's a whole debate about this dub takeaway.
Oh, it might be on Amazon Prime, maybe.
Oh, that's an interesting chat. There's all kinds of stuff on there actually.
Hoopla. You can buy it on Apple iTunes, Google Play Movies, Voodoo, Amazon. So it's probably on Amazon.
On videos and
Yeah, Amazon Video. I guess give it a search. If not, YouTube Online. That's where. Yeah, that's where I saw it. But yeah, definitely give that a watch. Now, Akira, and Tim, you have watched this movie, correct?
I have some.
But you didn't. But you didn't put it on your list. Now, that is a sin, sir.
I can justify it. I could defend myself. Akira is good, but
Amazing movie about IKEA furniture. Wait, are you talking about Perfect Blue or Akira?
it's funny because it could be both.
Well, Akira. Okay. It's a movie about IKEA furniture.
Oh, Izzy's here. Hello.
Yes, hello Izzy. I know you've been lurking for a while,
It's
but
been lurking, huh? Okay.
she speaks.
That's fair. That's fair enough. Oh no, she's talking about Akira.
Oh, it sounds like IKEA. That's why.
Akira is wild.
No, but Akira. All right. So let me give some
It
context.
does sound like IKEA though. That's true.
Let me give some context about why the film Akira is so like if you are a fan of movies, you have to watch Akira. You just have to. Right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Most of the movies you see today, 90% of them are probably taking some inspiration from Akira. And Akira,
Yeah, you're right. It is everywhere, isn't it?
It is
It's
everywhere.
influence. It's like literally everywhere.
and Akira coming out in 1987. Let me confirm that. 1988. 1980. Coming out in 1988. It had taken, it was one of the few anime movies at the time that took a lot of Western influence into its thing, into its movie. It took inspiration from Blade Runner. It took inspiration from Star Wars. It took inspiration from 2001: Space Odyssey, and it took inspiration
it's kind of
from
weird that way, 'cause
Tron.
I think a lot of stuff I've seen. Like I remember we talked about Nausicaa earlier,
Mhm.
right? And that's something shared in common, which is that a lot of these movies they're actually inspired by classic movies from Western culture like Star Wars and that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
then they in turn go on to inspire other stuff,
Mhm.
which I think is really cool.
Yeah. The
So I
motorbike.
know Akira is like a particularly good example of like taking stuff from like other movies and then becoming really influential itself. So yeah.
Izzy says the motorbike looks like the bikes from Tron. It is directly
I-
inspired from Tron.
yeah.
The creator of Akira said that the bike is based off Tron. He really liked how it looked in the film, so he adapted it to his own film. It looks so
Yeah.
cool. I want that bike.
Because it's in Ready Player One.
It is, yeah. It's God.
It is.
This film's like inspired a lot of the more iconic films today, such as Matrix. Like
Yeah.
it's wild
It is
how
fantastic.
yeah. It's wild where this movie goes. You know, when you're watching it from start to end. You don't like not knowing anything about Kira, you did not expect it to go where it does, right?
Yeah. It is just.
And like the whole
Honestly, I don't know. Like Akira is something you have to watch. We're talking about it, but it's like
if you
you
haven't
need to
watched
see it,
it,
and then you understand what we're talking about.
yeah. If you haven't watched Akira, you have to watch it. It's just a must as a if you're as a fan of film, as a fan of cinematography, cinema in general, you have to watch Akira because it inspired anime and movies, you know, that we have today. It it changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
Because you brought it up, and I was like, how do I best describe it? Akira is.
it's the they had the whole it's kind of like a bit more ambiguous, but they had the explosions we saw, they're not explosions. I mean they are, but they're like but what's happening is they're making their own universe. It's a pocket universe if you didn't know. And yeah, and the whole like you know you really sit down and watch, you really get to understand like what Tetsu's role is in this. Tetsu being the guy who gets the powers and gets all fleshy and shit.
Let's not spoil it.
I mean, you see it in trailers. If you've seen any trailers, he's the guy with the red cape. But you see what his role is in it, how well it plays through, what the other subjects in the film want to do with him or trying to stop him from doing or whatever. And seeing like you know the whole like biker gang friendship, like kind of not friendship but more like a brotherhood kind of a deal, right? How much he cares for Tetsu, like how much Canada cares for Tetsu, Canada being the guy in the poster you see. And even though like Tetsu's this guy now, he still like has the balls to go up and stand up to him and then fight him. Like it's it's like you have this whole army who are getting fucked by him, and then you see kind of like fuck you.
I mean, I will say that it is pretty violent. I would say.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not for everybody, but
It's
if you're into sort of
it's for.
science fiction,
I'll say it's easier to watch Akira than Perfect Blue.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh boy, is this one of the ones they're like remaking? Because I know they're remaking Your Name. That pisses me off. So
Are
much.
they remaking Akira? Because they better.
They better not be doing that. Because I know they're remaking Your Name, and that just so like, ugh, please don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've heard about the Your Name remake. Your Name's really good though.
I think I heard about it, but I don't know what much of what's going on there.
You mean with the remake? Your Name? Oh, yeah. J.J. Abrams is in charge of it, and he's like resetting it in America. Something. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Nice.
fuck. Okay, you know what?
definitely not going to check that out because that's just like they better not be doing it. Please don't. Oh no.
Finally reveal.
Actually,
Are they,
Taika Waititi.
Is it? Oh yeah, I heard it is Taika Waititi, isn't it? Hold on. Okay,
Okay,
gonna show you.
okay.
Gonna
I,
show
I.
you what I'm looking at. But yeah, here. Apparently there is an Akira remake coming. It's like
Oh, is it
Wired.
one of these ones that's been rumored for like 15 years or whatever? It's like,
It's still happening, but possibly without Taika Waititi. Oh, that's great. God, I hope they're not doing this.
it's like that meme, you know. It's like close the gates, open the gates, open the gates a little. This is basically my reaction to this. Oh boy.
I feel like someone's made that meme before.
Oh
Uh,
boy.
no, I can't find it. There. Oh, there. Oh, here's something. Okay, remake directed by like Taika Waititi. Yeah. Wow, I guess I'm the only one in the Toy Story 2 camp.
I
So
mean,
sad.
they're all good. I mean, I can see like it's not like it's not like one of them is good and the rest of them suck.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Terenzi is stupid.
Wow.
Oh boy.
We're
No,
gonna-
but you got some good picks there. So, I mean, that is yeah. It's clearly like I don't know if Izzy saw, but we like. Oof! I barely remember the second one. Ouch!
Wow.
Ouch.
Barely remember this. Second one was with the toy store and the chicken guy. And
Yeah.
they use the traffic cones to cross the road, which is
Can I get an F in the chat for Terren's opinion, please?
Wally. Oh, yeah.
Wally,
Consider.
okay. I mean, since coming in with some.
Ah, I
With some
forgot about Wally. You know what? I'd put Wally above Toy Story 2.
I mean, I love Wally.
I for-
Wally is. I didn't like it when I first watched it, but then when I watch it nowadays, Wally is now like increasingly relevant,
And
disturbingly so.
you know, I did forget about Wally, but I would put it above Toy Story 2 if I had remembered. So. My bad.
I did think about Wally actually,
I forgot about
but
it.
there were Ghibli movies that I felt had that same message, but did it in a way that was sort of more nuanced, more I think. But no, Wally is
Wally.
definitely a good contender. I think.
Yes.
I like it better than Toy Story. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I agree with Izzy. Yeah.
Hmm. I think Mulan
yeah.
would be in your top to run. Well, yeah, of course it is. It's
I honestly thought you were gonna go for Aladdin because I thought Aladdin or Tarzan maybe was your favorite. But...
well, just because I'm Indian, just because I'm brown. Wow.
But Aladdin is not Indian,
No, I said just because I'm brown. I corrected myself.
bro. I could have said Moana.
Yeah, no, that I would have put that.
No love for Moana here.
You didn't know I was
like
into
Moana.
any Disney.
Moana isn't too bad.
One of the Disney films I was into was Hercules, and I think it's part of
Okay.
what got me really interested into Greek mythology.
Since making a case for Shrek, which is fair enough.
Donkey had sex with the dragon. Oh, Shrek! Shrek is alive. Okay, you know what? If I had to change the list, I would put Wally above Toy Story 2.
No, Wally.
Yeah. As for my honorable mention,
Yeah, what would you prefer actually? 'Cause I know I mentioned Scooby Doo and Zombie Island. You guys know that.
yeah, it was a good one.
It was unexpected. That's what I'm going.
Short story and up. No, I don't know. I think I'd put kind of a bias on this one. I think because
Go for it.
I really enjoyed it. I watched it about a week ago, and
It's just like something really obscure. But I've heard of this.
it's not obscured, but I don't think you've You might have heard of it, but I don't think you know of it. It's called. Let me just think for a second. I feel like I had
Sorry,
another movie in
you
mind.
can't remember what it's called.
No, I remember what it's called, but I feel like there's another movie uh, I had in mind that I could have said for an honorable mention, but
You got to make your mind do.
because I can't think of anything else right now, which is a good animated film that I would have put up in my top 9, is Demon Slayer Mugen Train.
Okay.
So I'm a bit biased to it because I'm a fan of Demon Slayer. So okay, wait.
Right.
The Japanese name for it's an anime movie, and the Japanese name is Kimetsu no Yaiba the movie, or Kimetsu no Yaiba Mugen Train. Um,
I'm just very glad because I know I had an attempt at saying something in Japanese earlier, and now you've done. I'm very glad that none of you all in chat are Japanese that I know of. So,
yeah.
when we butcher the language,
For those of you,
no one can correct us.
for those of you who don't know what Demon Slayer is, I guess I'll show you a quick image of what it looks like. Here's a poster. Hold on. That's a small poster. Where's there it is. All right, so that's the film. You might have seen the characters here and there because the anime
It
itself.
actually does look vaguely familiar, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the anime itself, it's an anime show, and then they made a movie based on one of the arcs in the manga. So this is movie is setting
Oh,
up
so it came
season
from a
two.
manga. Of course you know. I knew you would pick something else.
It's setting up. It's like it's following up from season one and setting up season two. And obviously, to watch it properly, like to understand what the hell's going on, you would have to watch season one
Alright.
of Demon Slayer, which isn't
So,
too hard to get through. It's a really good movie. 70% of the movie is one fight scene. It's an intense fight scene though. And it's really cool. It's all really really cool.
Ratatouille. Ratatouille. I
Ghost
didn't
in
like
a
Ratatouille
Shell.
actually because I didn't like Ratatouille because I just dislike the idea of having a rat cook my food. Personally,
But yeah, Ghost in a
I don't know how you
Shell.
all feel about that, but I'm just like I wouldn't let a rat cook me.
Ghost in a Shell is a good shout too, I'd say. Chicken Run, anyone? Okay, wait. Now that we're talking about other movies, let me just go back to the screen here. All right. Yeah, imagine eating pronounced cooking.
Oh
What?
wow, that's worst.
Okay. Chicken Run. Oh god.
You
Yeah.
know, we're talking about Ratatouille, like cook your food. Whoosh. That's a reference like 6 people will get.
But rat cooking food, ratatouille. Oh my god. No, I think I'm on the same boat as Tim. I acknowledge it to be a good film, but I don't think I enjoyed Ratatouille as much as some people did. Ghost in a Shell again. I'll say that's a good shout. And Dragon Ball Super Broly. I mean, it's a Dragon Ball movie. I don't know. I'm not saying Dragon Ball movies are bad. Most of them aren't that great, and there's only a few I would say it's really good.
Yes, Coraline. I had Coraline on my list. Coraline is so creepy and it is so
Coraline.
good. I was really considering Coraline. Have you not seen Coraline?
I have seen Coraline,
Oh,
but
God,
but
that still gives me like the shivers.
if you want to
Sometimes
feel
when I think about it, it gives me the creeps.
if you want to feel even
Oh.
more uncomfortable, you should watch Perfect Blue, Izzy.
Yeah, yeah, but you know how Coraline just creeps you out. Like whenever someone brings up Coraline, I was like, ugh. I so like, ugh, no. There are bits of Coraline where I'm like, no, thank you.
Izzy, I think you mean stop motion, not stock motion.
Yeah, but I will second Coraline. Coraline's it's good.
Coraline's a good one. Sausage
Ooh.
Party, a really no, not Sausage Party. That was a horrible film. Do you remember Sausage Party?
I never watched it, but I heard it was just really dumb. So
It's just dumb. It's not that enjoyable. It's just like, what was it, tasteless jokes, really. I don't like it.
it's like just crude humor and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
kind of.
yeah.
It's very sexually suggestive, and it's like I'm not a fan of it.
Maybe we should talk about movies that are kind of blurring the line here. Would you say like Looney Tunes Back in Action is an animated movie?
Ah, yeah. See, I did want to bring it up, and I was like, I don't
I
know.
think it's a bit iffy. I think you could make a case for it.
You could make a case for
Um,
it.
'Cause I do like anime. It's kind of.
But also, like, is
I don't know if it's
Space
like
Jam animated or is it live action?
you see if Looney Tunes Back in Action is an animated movie, then Space Jam is also an animated movie.
Oh, Brother Bear. Oh god, yeah, Brother Bear is a good one. I wouldn't put it in my top 9, but it's a very good one.
I still
Oh,
remember the song.
Sid also asked if Space Jam animated. Yeah. uh, most of the film is animated, and the fact like the only character that's not animated is Michael Jordan, except in the beginning of the movie. I don't know. Is Who Framed Roger Rabbit an animated movie?
That is like this is like on the this is on the line. You see. It's like well, actually I don't know because I think I would say it's actually live action because it's based in like the real world.
So, but Space Jam is not based in that theater world.
I know.
So,
I mean like Looney Tunes. Looney
yeah,
Tunes would be.
Looney
Space
Tunes.
Jam I'm not so sure about, but Looney Tunes I think is live action
Okay.
personally because it has like you know what I mean, but. In that case, you could say the prequels are animated movies. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, where did you draw the line with the CGI and stuff? I guess, yeah, that's fair.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I would have put any of the movies in my top 9 anyway.
Yeah, I know, but you know, it's just something to think about because there's like the line is not clear. I'm just saying. I don't think.
Well, since two of you are in chat, are there any other movies you could have thought of for animation that you would have liked to put in your top 9? Or do you guys have a top 9 that you want to type out here?
Oh yeah, just pass it out to the floor. That's a good idea. That's good.
Come on. We're rating.
We know you got some obscure picks that we've never heard of.
Not really. Okay. I mean,
Man, I wish somebody would reboot Scooby Doo properly.
Pokemon 200 Fantasia.
Oh, Fantasia's good. Yeah, I can see Fantasia.
I just remembered a film that I would put. Ah, fuck! I hate my list already. There's a film I would have put above Toy Story. Oh god, I would have put above Toy Story, and I would have probably. Okay, if I had remembered these two films, right?
Yeah.
I think I would have replaced. Let me just look at the grid again. So the two films I just thought, Wall-E, first of all, I think I would have replaced Toy Story 2 with. And the other film that I just thought of that I think I would have replaced Batman Under the Red Hood for is called, if anyone remembers, Treasure Planet.
Yes! Yes! I remember Treasure Planet. Yes, I actually had that on my list. I was like considering. Yes. Treasure Planet is amazing.
I completely blanked on it.
Okay, everyone has forgotten about Treasure Planet. Literally.
You know, like
But-
I had it on my list, and then I blanked on it when I was making my final list. And I was like, shit! I knew like there was something in my list missing. I was like, ah, shit! It was Treasure Planet. Treasure Planet is so good, so good.
Love Treasure Planet, but you know, it was actually like it underperformed, and it was like
Yeah, I know.
I don't think it's definitely underappreciated, that movie. It's like because wow, that's a fair bet.
Treasure Planet. It's such. Oh god, I want to see the.
Wait, Izzy, when you say Atlantis, you mean Atlantis: The Lost Empire? I think because Atlantis: The Lost Empire, I would definitely put that up there.
This is not what it was. Atlantis is a good one too, and I mostly
Yeah,
liked
you
it
know the
for the
Lost
music.
Empire. I love that one as well. That is wild. That one. With the mole guy. Yeah, Lost Empire. Yeah, yeah. That's oh god. Yo, I remember this song. It's I can't remember who sings it, but
I'll play it, but
yeah.
I don't want to get struck for anything.
Oh man.
It's just like a song part. You're not getting spoiled for anything. But like to be honest, I haven't watched many anime movies in general. Polar Express, yeah, Polar Express. Back in the day when they did hand drawn animations, right?
You see, this is my case. I miss when they did hand drawn stuff. These
Yeah,
days, it's like
there's
when they
like
do stuff like Frozen. I'm like, it's okay.
there's like
It's
a
okay.
scene in here which I really liked in terms of like animation. Oh, that's a beautiful scenery. Hold on, look at that.
Treasure Planet is like it is amazing. They just completely forgot about
I would have totally put this on my list. God,
it.
have it.
What made you think of Treasure Planet? That was
Because
oh man.
I had it on a list, but then was it I put it on my Mac and then my Mac stopped working. And then it's like
Yeah,
I
man. I would
couldn't
I would
I
love for them to make a Treasure Planet remake. That would be like they're never gonna do it. But there's
uh
you know what I mean? Stop remaking Lion King. Stop remaking all that. Remake Treasure Planet. It deserves it.
I think it was this scene that I really enjoyed. Like this whole sequence.
Yeah, that when he has the sort of,
Yeah, it's just dropping
yeah, they only do
down.
these because of money. You're right, exactly. Yeah, man, I would go see a Treasure Planet.
God.
Yeah.
I'd watch a sequel.
Oh,
Make a sequel.
hell yes, please, like, my God.
Heck, just remaster it and release it. I'm sure it'll make money today.
Yeah, I think you know.
Lorix is pretty
Oh,
good
that's a.
too, but not top in my opinion. Lorix is pretty good. But
I think
yeah.
I think I prefer the book to be honest when we're talking about Lorax because the book is like the book is incredible, but I don't know about the movie. B movie, yeah, classic.
What a
Yeah.
yes, what a make perfect classic right there.
A lot of memes. Emoji movie. Oh my god, get out. Get out.
Freaking masterpiece that one, huh? No. Oh my god. But yeah, I cannot believe I left Treasure Planet out of my list. I'm disappointed in myself for that.
In my defense, I had it, but I left it out
Mm,
because there are better movies. But
shame.
I was like, it is, yeah.
Shame. Also, the animation a bit kind of reminds me of Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, fuck. I
What?
forgot Lilo and Stitch.
Would you put it on your list though?
I wouldn't have put Lilo and Stitch on my list, but I think I
Mm.
would have like at least shortlisted it. So I think I did enjoy Lilo and Stitch. Monsters Inc. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Monsters Inc. is good.
Monster Inc. is good. Copyright disclaimer, yes. Look at this disclaimer. This is fair use, guys. uh, yeah, Lilo and Stitch is a good one.
I think they're remaking Lilo and Stitch as well. They're
Why?
doing.
Why?
I
Why?
don't know why. Like it.
Either
Yeah.
make a sequel or leave it alone.
No. I think it's a remake. I definitely remember reading something. They were like, "That's their next plan" or something. Because they did Mulan, and they're like, I think Lilo and Stitch is the next one or something."
Wait, it's a live action remake?
God, I don't know if it's. I don't know. Actually, no. I know it's some sort of remake going on, but I don't know exactly what. But
Is
it's
there
just so
gonna
unnecessary. You guys like are so afraid of doing something original, man. Just you guys
project
used
was
to be like the
announced?
legends of the animation world. And
Project was announced in October 2018. So we don't know. Can we put Disney in the Grim Reaper meme with all the doors having classic animated films? Oh, I know which one. 10
They
years
just
later.
just make something new, guys, and don't make Frozen 3.
John and
God.
Chu to direct Lilo and Stitch live action.
Okay, all right.
That's very
There's the Crazy Rich Asians
how'd you
guy. I
make
don't know how I feel about that.
how'd you make a live action Stitch?
We have to do some crazy CGI like Lion King. That's gonna suck.
Or like
No
Sonic. Someone made this.
I hope they do it like Sonic.
Well, they
Oh
fixed
god.
they fixed Sonic, right? Sonic.
Oh boy. No, they fixed Sonic, and then the people who did the VFX, they went out of business,
Yeah, sad.
which is so sad because yikes.
Line.
You think
No, sorry.
like you think maybe that's what they're gonna do? They're just gonna make Stitch look like a koala, but like blue. Is that how they're gonna do it?
Stitch a koala but blue. I mean, it makes sense, but I feel like they'll take aspects of a koala.
I don't want them to do it. I'm not gonna lie. Just
Like, look,
Fine.
someone made one here. Someone did it.
oh Jesus, please no. That is like nightmare fuel. That is like my sleep paralysis demon. Looks like that.
My cousin was crazy into Cars as a kid. I watched it with him like 20 times when he visited to keep him distracted. I started hating the movie.
Cars never made sense to me. I watched it, but I was
My
it's okay.
sister's boyfriend is too. I'm like, meh, dude, the first one. I forgot how battered he looked.
I think the point we should take away from this is they just leave it alone.
Yeah, just leave classic Disney alone. Unless you're making an animated sequel, just leave it alone.
You know, there was a sequel to Mulan. But
There was, and it sucked, yeah.
Oh, boy.
You made a good
movie. Leave it at that.
Exactly.
You guys have some imagination. Actually, freaking do something.
What about your favorite cartoon? Are we gonna wait? We're gonna do top TV shows, right?
I was gonna suggest. I had a couple of suggestions. I don't know what chat thinks. I was gonna suggest we do top 9 horror movies because horror movies we get a lot of conversation out of.
Really? I haven't watched a lot of horror movies stuff.
That's because you're weak.
I am.
No, but I see. I think I've seen enough that I could do that. But I don't know if you guys want to. I know Christian's a bit of a horror fan, so we can
He is.
talk about that. Now I was going to suggest we do the the TV shows one.
The TV shows one. Yeah, but like, how do you want to do the TV shows one? You know, we were thinking.
That'll be.
Should we split
That'll
it?
be.
Should we split it like we did here, live action and animated, or?
I don't know if I've watched enough. Like most of the TV shows I watch were probably animated. So.
Same with me, but I think I have enough live action ones that I can put in, such as.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do live action. I'm not gonna watch live action TV.
Yeah.
So I prefer cartoons. Like
Should we?
I have not grown up yet. That's basically the conclusion you should draw from this.
Should we just do a mix then?
Uh,
Because I have
I
a
don't
few.
know. It's a good shout.
There aren't-
Chad has already suggested stuff. Chad's already like, yeah, these ones.
Well, you won't know ours until the next time we do this podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
But I think let's do a mixed. But it's probably mostly gonna be animated.
it's probably how it's gonna go. Yeah.
So I guess next episode, top TV shows.
Well, I don't know. I thought our next episode was gonna be on the games one, because
Oh yeah, we have the.
we're still doing the. We're still doing that.
Wait, what's the date next week? It's the 13th. All right, so or 12th and 13th. So next
We're
week
still gonna
we
or
are.
the 16th or something, wasn't it? Or the 19th or something like that.
Yeah,
What do you
next
think of that?
week we're probably not gonna have a stream because we'll be watching the Summer Games Fest and E3 events. Uh,
Yeah, we were actually like we were emailing because they have a special thing where if you want to like stream along live, you have to send
yeah.
in your email address and stuff and details. So we did that, but they haven't got back to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of on a little shaky legal ground there. So we're
Yeah.
probably not going to do that unless they get back to us, which is a shame. But
Yeah.
yeah, big F. But yeah, we figured like maybe once that whole E3 Summer Games Fest thing is over, we'll just do like a podcast about that.
Yeah.
So we're planning that maybe
So we
if the
have
Summer Games Fest thing
our
is
we'll
over.
have our next podcast in about 2 weeks. Uh,
Or no, we can just do one next weekend.
but then
Literally.
that's during E3. Wait, let me see.
Yeah, but
what
there's always
time
gonna
is
be like we can do it during Devolver Digital or something.
it? Yeah, but everyone's gonna watch the Vol Digital.
Yeah, only because they meme the hell out of everything.
Exactly. Let's
What's
see.
something that nobody watches? Because there's bits of E3 that nobody watches. Everybody watches like Xbox, Bethesda, like EA Play, and then like after that, it's like
Let's see. Let's see. So we see here we have June 10th. We have the kickoff.
which we were gonna cover, except they won't let us, even though we give them like exposure.
I don't know if they won't let us because I looked up like if we're allowed to stream.
That's the whole thing, right? We have to like ask them permission.
Yeah, it's like because I looked up the whole deal. It's like because what I looked up was can I stream E3 without can I just stream E3? And a lot of people said no, you can't. You're gonna have to ask permission, get a co-stream agreement or something. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not gonna happen.
But you know what it is, right? They're just like they just don't want people like mouthing off and being freaking racist on the thing while it's all going on.
Yeah, but I was like,
But we
yeah,
wouldn't do that.
but
Man, they have like so little faith in humanity.
yeah, but we're like, well, yeah, that's not gonna happen for us. So I guess we can't stream the
Well, it
stream
still
itself.
might. It still might. I'm retaining out the hope.
Yeah,
You know what?
we'll see.
You know, just for you guys, we're gonna tweet at Jeff Keighley and be like, "Yo, what the fuck?
So
Like,
let's
where's our
see.
thing?"
June. So if we stream next week, it'll be 12th of June at night. So what is being streamed on? Hold on, one sec.
Oh, that's like the worst day to do it, though.
Because usually we stream Saturday nights, and it
Yeah,
usually
4:30 p.m. Eastern is like that is like right. That is like night.
yeah, it usually be
Ubisoft 4, that is night.
around yeah 8 a.m. Pacific is when we would usually start streaming on a Saturday. So June 12th, 8 a.m. Pacific, right? So this starts 1, 2, 4.
You know what? Let's just say June 19th we'll do the whole game thing, assuming he doesn't come up. Assuming Jeff doesn't get back to us.
Well, we can do a podcast stream next week, and then we can catch the E3 stuff later. I mean, it's here because it starts. Because
We'll discuss offline, and we'll be like,
yeah. All right. So unconfirmed, probably not, but maybe. Just follow our socials, SavePointEXE on it everywhere.
that's me. The Summer Games Fest people get back to us, and they're like, "Yeah, you guys can do it." We'll be like, we would not shut up about it for like a month. Like even after it's over, we're doing this. We're doing this. So you will definitely hear about it if they get back to us.
I can't get
But-
emotes yet, but we'll see.
But they probably won't. So yeah. But don't worry about that.
But yeah, we'll see. All right. I think that's all for today. We have spoken enough. Stream's been going on for 3 hours, which is a lot more than.
Well,
what
it's just under 3 hours because you started it a bit before, but you know.
It's still quite a bit. Our last stream was, I think, only 2.5 hours.
I mean, to be fair, we were chatting a lot of shit. That's why.
True.
because you know there was overlap, and you're like, yeah, you're like, oh yeah, Mulan, and then I was like, oh, we're talking Mulan. We both had Mulan, and it was like, yeah, we'll just talk about that for like an hour. It's okay.
All right. Well,
Cool.
the you saw our list. Here's Tim's list to for those who missed it. He had Nausicaa, Princess Mononoke, Incredibles, The Tale of Princess Kaguya, Mulan, The Grave of the Fireflies, Spirited Away, Inside Out, and Only Yesterday. And I had Toy Story 2, which I regret. I'd rather put Treasure Planet or
No
Wall-E.
regret. You could have just sneakily changed it in the background.
I remembered way too late. Mulan, Spirited Away, The Incredibles, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Batman Under the Hood, which I would have put Treasure Planet above. Perfect Blue, again, I highly recommend Perfect Blue, but fair warning, you will be extremely uncomfortable watching it. Akira, definitely watch it for any cinema fans out there. And Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah, Sid says you regret it because it's not Toy Story 3, which
I don't regret it's not Toy Story 3. I just regret it's not Wall-E or Treasure Planet. So sad. So
what if they did like a crossover? That'd be wild.
Weren't there always like Easter eggs or something that would get people theorizing?
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe it was one of those things. Yeah, yeah. In like Wall-E, there's like, oh yeah, maybe. I haven't watched Wall-E in ages, but
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We hope
thank you for joining us.
We hoped you agreed with our picks or disagreed. Share what you
Or
guys
at least,
think.
like, I hope you guys found something that maybe you're interested in watching
Yeah.
and checking out.
Yeah.
So,
Any disagreements? Well, anyone here is our friends. They can talk to us directly. But if you're not our friend, okay. If you're a regular viewer, you can reach us on Twitter. We'll talk there. And yeah.
Sid says, learn today that I should trust Krishna even less.
Yes, for those who missed Krishna's picks. So Krishna, because Izzy kind of just joined in to kind of clear up on that. Krishna was supposed to join today, but he was feeling unwell due to he had just gotten his vaccine shot. So, yay, congrats. But it's only the first dose. He'll be getting a second dose, who knows when.
Yeah, so long story short, he was just feeling a little tired, and yeah, he hadn't done his grid in time, so we were just like, you know what, you should go and rest. And
So
he's doing that right now. He's probably sleeping.
Yeah, he wasn't able to join the stream, but he told us what his picks were gonna be.
Well, some of them.
He only gave us 5, and so they were Kung Fu Panda 2. I just want to see your reaction real quick. Kung Fu Panda 2.
You see, Izzy's like, "Oh, congrats!" I'm like, "Yeah, congrats, I guess."
No,
I mean,
on the vaccine death.
oh right, yeah, okay, yeah. No. That's what I was thinking. Like, that's nice. I mean, I know stabbed with a needle. That's pretty much what happened.
All right. Well, I guess she's so speechless about that pick, so we'll move on. Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, The Dark Knight Returns Part 1, Wonder Woman, the film from 2009, and Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. You may have noticed a pattern there. But yeah, those were his picks. Just to reiterate, since I already reiterated our picks. But yeah.
Oh. Thank you for watching.
And we will. He gave those 5 first, so they were his top 5. Well, he had others. Well, I guess it wasn't it?
Well, I mean, if it's the movies he thought of first, then that says something.
I guess.
Which,
I mean, he claims the rest of the 4 he had weren't DC, so I don't know.
you know what we're doing right now? We should have finished the stream. Right now, we're just wasting time and we're roasting a man who's very sick. Is essentially what is happening.
Okay. Thank you
So-
guys for watching. Hope you liked our picks. We'll see you maybe next week. Keep up on our socials, save.exe everywhere. We'll update you guys what's going on with that.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
See you around, guys.